Begin transmission. Hello, everybody. It is Chris, aka Starrapter, for Outer Rim Transmission, your weekly Star Wars podcast. This is episode number 70. I'm with the whole crew. I'm with Milton and Ben, and today we're continuing our adventure through chronological order of the wonderful Star Wars saga with happens to be my favorite movie of the whole saga, Star Wars Episode 6, Return of the Jedi, the first movie I've seen in Star Wars that got me hooked. I've told that story many times. It's probably not worth repeating at this point. But how's it going, Ben? I know you and Milton are currently in the midst of following the NFL. That's all started. It's already that time. It's August now.
Yep, we're just getting ready for football season, preseason right now. First regular season's not until about the first weekend of September, so we got some time. But yeah, getting excited about that. Having a good week of working out. Nothing too crazy Star Wars related this week for me. For my my week overall in Star Wars. Nothing that exciting other than I saw one thread on Twitter that kind of made me laugh. I was like, this is like the summary of Twitter these days, because it was like, if it wasn't for Disney Star Wars wouldn't be known worldwide. I was like, get out of here. Come on now. George Lucas's Star Wars, that's iconic. But I just had to laugh, just at the hot takes on Twitter with Star Wars fans sometimes. It's always a good conversation on there. So, nothing too exciting, just the typical checking out what fans are saying. I had one of the bigger Star Wars YouTubers, Star Wars Theory. He responded to me on Twitter this week. That was pretty cool. And speaking of people responding or stuff on Twitter, interactions on Twitter, Chris, how about you? You had one as well.
Oh, yes, Ben. So as I do, and I wish I had him up here with me. I'll show you guys next week. I have a whole Chris shows off his Star Wars toys segment coming for next week. But yeah, I basically was painting up a Darth Maul at the time for the Shadow Collective of the Star Wars Legion miniatures, and I was scrolling through Twitter, and Sam, the good old guy that actually plays Maul, plays Emperor Sam Witwer, on Twitter had posted pics of him painting up a snail tank for Star Wars Legion in the same game. So I was like, let me chime in on this. I did a work in progress image of my Maul, which only basically had his face painted at that point. And he loved the tweet. He didn't say anything, but it was kind of one of those moments where it's like, yes, he's one of us, and he understands, and we all know, because Sam Witwer is awesome. He, originally the Star Killer, he is a wealth of knowledge. He's been known to correct the creatives on the jobs he's on with Star Wars. No, that's not the right lightsaber for Solo. He should have this lightsaber because he's in this time frame, and all that kind of stuff. He's awesome. He's always all over the fans podcasts and stuff like that. But yeah, it was pretty cool. Be like, oh yeah, I looked at my phone, Sam Witwer, I love your tweet. I'm like, huh, whoa, wow, so it's pretty neat, because he does have a video, I think somewhere you can find it, of him touring the facility of Fantasy Flight Games, and this is before Darth Maul came out in the game, and he's like, yeah, you guys are making a Darth Maul, right? He's back here somewhere, right? So it's pretty cool to see that interaction. So yeah, Twitter, we also, we always talk, I feel like every week we mention Twitter, because most of the time it's a negative thing, but as you're saying, Ben, Twitter can be a positive place, because it's as close as we can get to some of these creators, some of these creatives and actors, to have some cool goings on back and forth,
Oh yeah, Twitter. I always take shots at it, because there's definitely a lot of negatives on there, but there is positives with Twitter as well. Being able to actually interact with some of the creatives, whether it be Star Wars or other favorite movie franchises or shows or games and stuff like that. A lot of those people will interact with you, like Steven Stanton. He's responded to me plenty of times on Twitter, plenty of times. When Star Wars Rebels was coming out, I swear he always recognized my name out of people tweeting him, because every week I would be tweeting him during Rebels, and he would always respond back to me. He responded to me almost every week when Rebels was airing live. So that was really cool back then. And then just little interactions like that, whether it be, one of the best ones was Mark Hamill liked one of my tweets before.
Whoa.
Stuff like that. Katie Sackhoff did as well, during The Mandalorian. And then just even in other franchises, like for people that seen Gotham, um, the one guy, there's an actor named Andrew Sellon. He plays this one guy. So there's a villain in the DC universe who uses like a puppet, and he's like a killer with a puppet. I can't think of the name. I think it's Mr. Penn actually. Anyways, but the actor who plays him actually follows me on Twitter, so it's like, oh, that's cool. So like, just getting like cool interactions like that with people. I mean, heck, the guy that played the Penguin and the Riddler in the Gotham show, like they both responded to me plenty of times when Gotham was airing over the years, So it's like it's fun, like actually as fans getting to interact with like your favorite like people in your shows and movies, and especially like in the Star Wars franchise. Like that's really neat because a lot of the Star Wars social media discourse is negative, and it's just cool getting some of like the positive feedback as well.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so what's new with you, Milton?
Nothing much. I mean, like Ben mentioned earlier, and I think you mentioned it too, NFL starting. So today was me enjoying my Eagles preseason football. So I'm been excited for my team. However, I'm not going to jinx it. I'm going to let it all play out into the regular season because I'm one of those fans like that. And of course, as you see, I'm repping one of my mini Eagles jerseys. As
Nice.
for my week in Star Wars, I really don't have much this week. Honestly, it's been such a
Yeah.
weird long week. So I mean, I'm just excited just to get into the commentary. I will say I did have a discussion this past week with my friend Amanda, who I told you about, who has been watching the movies with me thus far. And I will say, she said we need to talk about Ben and Chris's reaction to my thoughts on New Hope. So her and I talked about that at dinner on Tuesday, and she's excited to see the next two movies.
Mm.
I still have to probe her to watch the prequel still, just because I think she's still not really much of a science fiction person. However, I'm working on her, so she's definitely going to watch Empire. She's definitely going to watch Jedi, and her favorite characters have been thus far Chewie and Leia, and I believe R2. She said.
Good choices.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, R2 is the savior of the galaxy. Leia
I mean, pretty
is
much.
the foundation that holds the glue together, essentially, right? So you got that. What was the last one you said? What was the third one?
R2.
You said
Or
R2, Leia, and
Chewie.
who else?
Chewie.
Oh, Chewie. Yeah, I mean, he's the
Yeah.
heart of Star Wars. I mean, he really
Yeah.
is the unsung hero as well, but he's also the heart, right?
Right, right. Yeah, no, she's interested. She wants to know about a love story, and I said I'm not going to tell you anything else. I said you got to just watch the next film
Heck,
because you'll see how things develop. So I don't want to give anything away. Like she's not going to watch tonight's episode with us because I don't want her to be spoiled about what we talk about. But like I said, I told her once she watches those films, you guys will definitely get an update about how she reacts or likes the films.
That's
nice.
great.
Nice. So, as we always say, before we go into it, actually, as I, do the normal runabout of what announcements we have, for those of you that are watching live, or even after the fact, we're going to be watching Return of the Jedi in its fullness. So make sure you go ahead and whatever you're watching, Laserdisc, VCR, Disney Plus, just rewind it, whatever, go all the way back to that 000 mark, and we will count down when we're ready to do that. But we'll give you a minute or two to get ready for that. In the meantime, we go live every Friday, just around this time, around 9 o'clock p.m. on Eastern Time. We do have the chat live and up and running, so people like Semperfi Danny can send in messages. They are saying, hi, first time listening to ORT, but I'm also digging the NFL football talk. LOL. So there we go. Semperfi Danny, join us every week. We're here chatting the latest with Star Wars news, releases, and everything else that connects to the galaxy we also love. We also do this on a podcast, so make sure if you don't want to watch us, if you can't at the time, if you're on the road a lot or doing whatever where you can't look at a screen, you can download us on any kind of streaming platform, whether it be Spotify, Apple, Google, or Amazon, or there's even many others than that. So go ahead and just search Outer Rim Transmission and tell all your friends if they're Star Wars fans that we would love for them to join our very welcoming, friendly community here at Outer Rim Transmission. So yeah, with that being said, I'm looking forward to hearing her reaction to Empire for sure, Milton, because she wants romance. Well, there's a little bit of romance to that one, that's for sure.
Right. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like, because I know she's she's asked questions about like Luke and Leia, and I'm not going to say anything. Like, you're not going to get me to talk about it. So I'm curious to see how she's going to react. And I told her, I said, once you watch Empire and Jedi, I'm curious if she's going to want to know, like, okay, what happened to their parents, So I'm hoping that would sway her to say, okay, let's go back and watch the prequels, and see particular.
I think it definitely will, just because of the events that happens in Empire and Return of the Jedi.
Right.
I think that'll definitely sway her, because then you could say, hey, there are these other movies that basbasically cover that.
Exactly. Well, that's what I tried to tell her at dinner this past week. But
that's your pitch, basically.
It's like pulling teeth with her when it comes to this stuff. I need her to watch other films too down the road. So let's get to the original trilogy. I know she'll like them, and then hopefully she'll say, "Oh, I'm curious to see how their parents got together," because she wants a love story.
There we go. There we go. So we're gonna get into it. So everybody, if you're watching live, after the fact, like I said, we're gonna rewind to 000. We'll go from a count of 3, and we'll start it. I mean, again, I say this as a preamble to every one of these. You do not have to watch these to hopefully get enjoyment. We are just basically talking about vaguely what we're seeing, not even all the time, right? So these are just discussion about Return of the Jedi in general.
Well, that, and just something to keep in mind with our new viewer that's here, and anybody that's like listening or maybe watching this or hopping in, we definitely try to talk through most of these commentaries. We're not like some other YouTubers where they'll just sit there and not say anything for 2.5 hours straight. So we just basically give our thoughts and breakdowns basically scene by scene.
Yeah, I mean, that would be a pretty boring podcast if somebody on the other end is listening and it's just there's silence 90% of the time. I wouldn't want to listen to that.
There are plenty of commentaries though that do that. On YouTube, if you look up people, there are plenty of commentaries that do that. They don't say much, and it's this isn't even entertaining. But that's the bonus of watching ours.
Here we go. We're gonna jump in. You guys ready? Milton, Ben, you ready?
Yep.
All right, we're gonna go in 3, 2, 1. Here's Return of the Jedi. Even though it's on Disney Plus, we still get the 20th Century Fox fanfare. Gotta love it.
I'm so glad they kept that.
Yeah. For some reason, I thought it was gone.
No, I think contractually they have to because of when it was made.
They can't change
they can't change that.
Originals.
Okay.
Yeah, George was like, nah, these are what they are.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think 20th Century Fox would be very happy to see that they're not represented anymore in these films.
Well, that's why McClunky was still in A New Hope, because it was George's final cut.
Right.
That's why.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yep.
So it's interesting that I timed the release of this commentary because next week is the release of a brand new book called The Scoundrel, or The Princess and the Scoundrel, which basically is moments after this with Leia and Han getting married on Endor and all that fun stuff. So, I mean, that wasn't in the back of my mind when I told you guys, we're going to watch this. And I was realizing, oh, crap, I probably was going to watch this anyway because the book is coming out. So, yeah, there's currently a Star Wars comics line that is taking place right before this movie. So I'm very interested to see, if we're ever going to get that in the comics with the Bothans and all that cool stuff that's, said off screen. What about this Battle of Tanab that Lando references there on the fleet, and how does he become a general? All that stuff is stuff that's kind of in between the lines. But other than that, I mean, like I said, this is my favorite Star Wars movie. Just the feel of it, the look of it, everything about it is great.
I think this is one of the stronger openings when it comes to, especially, we see Darth Vader's. I believe Darth Vader's, we see him first in this first scene, right? When he showed up to the second Death Star. Yeah. I think this is probably one of his better entrances, honestly, because especially how it sounds. I think they got so good at this point with the sound, mixture and making him louder and bigger than what he was. If we had the sound on, I love how we hear how his voice is projected, and I think that just shows the space
over the hangar too.
Yeah, they're in the hangar. They're showing the space of them being in an incomplete, Star Destroyer, or excuse me, Death Star. But I love the opening crawl with it. It was a very strong opening crawl. For this to be 1983, the graphics still hold up till this day. Like the CGI is on point, and it looks cleaner. Like how the film stock is shot.
Oh yeah, it's crazy how they clean this up. Just noting, I love the Death Star 2 design and how it looks like a skull. It's like just this creation, or was it destroyed? We don't know what's going on with it.
Right.
And the fact that they're able to spin up a second Death Star that quickly, that's a story we haven't gotten into canons. But it's
So
definitely something I want to learn more about.
I thought there was something in Legends where there was potentially 2 being constructed at the same time, or at least one.
Yeah.
Because I know in Ralph McQuarrie's drawings, there are pictures out there of multiple Death Stars being created around the same time.
It makes sense.
That was definitely that was a legend story for sure. I remember that, Milton. It was because that was getting built in the background of the main primary Death Star from A New Hope.
Right. And I'm pretty sure, I mean, there's so many things about this movie that they could have added, when it comes to like some of the art that was out there, or even just notes. But I'm pretty sure at one point, I think Coruscant was going to be introduced maybe into this movie at one point, if they would have had the tech, to put it on there. Because I know his idea was for it to be an all-city planet. And I know it wasn't called Coruscant. Listen, he looks so good here. God, Vader looks amazing. It wasn't called Coruscant originally. It was called Had Abaddon or something like that. It was a different name, Had Abaddon. And like it's supposed to be Coruscant, but they didn't call it that yet. Now, because I know in the books and legends, they pronounced it Coruscant, and they finally corrected it later.
That's the thing. It wasn't introduced as Coruscant until the Thrawn trilogy, I believe, right?
Right.
Yep.
And this is Moff Jerjerrod. We get a steady stable of Imperial officers throughout the time of the Star Wars trilogy here, and this guy is definitely a stand-up for me, as well as Piet.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Those are some of the best. And then also another thing to note real quick with their conversation between the two, just the cinematography of the conversation. I love how it flipped back and forth there between the two, like, showing basically because it's basically even a trick Christopher Nolan uses in his shooting, like, you shoot lower when your character's like lesser power than higher when it's more power, and it was going back and forth, like lower power with the Imperial officer, higher power with Vader. And that's where that type of back and forth like composition comes, because a quick summary of that, like in The Dark Knight, when Batman and the Joker are in the interrogation room, when the Joker has power over Batman, like, he's not telling him the info, all the camera angles are it makes it look like the Joker is higher up than Batman, but as Batman wins the interrogation, the Joker gets lower and lower throughout it. And that's it's kind of similar, shooting style they did right there.
Now, there's certain things I'm noticing. I don't know if it's just the monitor that I have, high frame rate monitor, but I don't remember them zooming in on like the Jabba's door with the droids right there. I don't know if that was like
they do. I
in.
think that was on purpose to show the scale.
Yep.
Because like I think this is a model of Jabba's palace, and he shot it in a way of make it look like it was huge, to the audience. Because I mean the way the scale looks amazing compared to like what it really was.
Yeah, when I was at Star Wars Celebration, they did have like a maquette, like miniature version of the door. So I wonder if they basically mimicked, and that was kind of how they shot Return of the Jedi.
Yeah. No, it's
cool.
I mean the way that, I believe was it Richard Marquand directed this one. With how he did this film, and obviously with George Lucas being there throughout most of the shooting, because he was very hands-on for this particular film. Like it's great how this movie looks so good, and just to see just the way filmmaking was done back in the 80s was way before its time.
Yep, so good old cameo by the Bomar monk, which we also see in Book of Boba Fett. One of these days we'll actually get a good backstory in one of these things. But this is where I really start to love the movie, because this is my place here. I love Jabba's palace, just the dank darkness of it all, and Bib Fortuna Slyby. Who the heck is this guy? Like, just creepy, but just so very Star Wars with all the aliens. There's like no humans basically in this place until Luke shows up. Or
Day
Leia
One
or
Wonga.
whatever.
What does that mean, Day One Wonga? I've always want to know what that meant. when he says that.
I
I
don't
think
know.
that's such
I just always say it though.
yeah, they want a wonga. And I'm like, what? I'm like, I'll catch myself saying that sometimes too. Yeah, it's crazy. But no, I like this scene. I like this character. I mean, it's so funny that, he's such a sleazeball when it comes to like loving Jabba. But there is one scene in here where he is repulsed by Jabba and what he does. Like, and I'll let you know when it pops up.
Interesting.
Yeah, now 3PO, I love 3PO's character. However, he annoyed me early on in this film because he's such a scaredy cat little biatch.
I feel like C-3PO definitely has his time to shine in this movie more than any other Star Wars movie. Like he's a central part of the plot in this movie, actually.
Right. Oh, for sure. I mean, Luke plays them the whole time, and that's what's nice about this film. And I know you've been getting into the audiobooks the last couple weeks, and we talk about the radio drama for this, and we'll get into some of that tidbit in a minute. But in the radio drama after the scene, when Jabba's palace, or 3PO's, he's pissed off at Luke and everyone. And they're like, "Why didn't you tell us about the plan?" And Luke was like, if we would have told you, you would have blown it pretty much. like you wouldn't have like gone through it because like he would have just given it up by accident, because it's 3PO.
Oh yeah. Gosh, seeing Jabba right there, holy smokes, guys! I don't know if you saw the tweet that went around. It went viral. Someone posted like an old concept art of Jabba that was originally like kind of thrown around for this movie, and like it was originally shown like he was potentially going to be like eating his like the servants basically when they were done with them. Like I was like, what in the world? I've never known that before.
Right.
Yeah.
I did find out recently that thing he's drinking out of is like spice. Like that's like
interesting.
All, like drugs and stuff.
That's amazing. I mean, he's that big. It probably doesn't affect him as easily because he's so damn big.
Yeah.
Gotta drink more.
Right. Well, speaking of Jabba, I love how at this point he's so fat he can't move by himself, and like, but the puppet, mastery that they did to make this character come alive is amazing. I think it's better that he's not CGI here. I think that it's better that he's practical. He looks more real.
This Jabba is, I think, the first Star Wars anything I ever seen, and he completely enamors me because of how lifelike he is. You can see he's like slimy, and the way his eyes are moving, and it's just like he's real. And it's like, holy crap! Like for me, he's one of those things where it's like I'm terrified, but I'm also like super intrigued at the same time. And that's what really drew me in. I was like, this is such a cool character.
Oh, for sure. I mean, and that's what's amazing about this character because he, like, I've heard people say, oh, he looks fake or he's too whatever. And it's like, no, like the way he looks, they make him feel real. He feels like he can be a real character in our world because of the practical effects that they use for him, to make him not want to move and just a big old slob. That's great character development, Now, what is this? Is this a torture rack or something, or like a? Yeah. Which is amazing.
I cannot wait. Next year actually is going to be the 40th anniversary of this movie, and as we always get, we get those 40th anniversary from a certain point of view, like the New Hope, or Empire Strikes Back. I can't wait for all the Jabba the Hutt stuff in this. I want to know about every one of the prisoners that they just passed. The thing with the tentacle, because like. They all have like they're all gonna have stories, little chapters. Every one of these droids here,
sure.
We're gonna have a Gamorrean guard's backstory about how he ended up at Jabba's palace, and like, hey, what's the droid's getting tortured? Like, what's his backstory? Like, I can't wait for that stuff.
No, that's amazing. Yeah, and like I said, this is a great scene. And for 1980, 81, 82, 83, when they were shooting this film, like to make it holds up till this day. And it's great to see like how Jabba tortures his droids to make sure that they don't get out of line, which is like awesome, by the way.
The reason why it holds up is because everything's practical, right? If this was a CG fest, then it looks aged pretty quickly. And that's the timeless nature of Star Wars, is that everything is decayed and dirty and dusty. so it's really timeless in a way, and you could just clean up the photo. Oh, I love this guy. Okay, so this little reptilian guy, I wish I knew his name, but like this whole little
Mm.
segment here is sweet.
Right. Well, fun fact: the dancer, I forget who's the dancer.
Hula?
Yeah, but the
Ula.
character, the actress that plays her, that's the original actress that played her and that came back to shoot the special edition
Interesting.
version. So
Oh,
she like jumped back into the scene 20 years later, still looking fire. Okay, like
See, that's
that's
great.
amazing.
damn.
Yeah. Now I like this musical scene. You know, some people shit on
Horrible.
this. You know, I like it. You know, because here's like I think because my love for Star Wars at this time in 97, 98, when this movies were being re-released, I was like, oh, this is cool. You know, again, I'm 11 years old when this comes out. I'm thinking, oh, this is dope in the
Yeah.
re-release. Yeah,
I liked it because it was just like, oh, there's a bunch of new aliens. Like, who's
Yeah.
this guy with these tonsils swinging and like?
right.
Oh yeah. I visually everything happening in the scene, I'm fine with. Just the music, like I said before, the only reason I don't like this music is just Battlefront because all the Tatooine levels are
Right.
the original one.
Yeah, I
That's
know.
all the soundtrack is over and over and over.
Right.
So it's like, yeah, I'm good on this. But the
I
visuals
feel
and all the aliens in the scene and stuff like are really good overall, I would say. And then
yeah.
yeah,
It's a great
Cool.
establishing shot for like what basically happens in Jabba's palace. Like what's the day to day like? Like this would be like something that happens like on a daily basis. Like they're just having a party for Jabba. Somebody's not doing well. He's gonna just feed him to the Rancor. Nothing different. This happens every day. Like
Right.
yeah, and shows you
no,
an
it's-
interesting contrast to the Book of Boba. Now, you know, like
Oh,
the way
yeah.
the palace was to the way it is now with Boba. It's definitely not going to be that lively, I think, with Boba moving forward.
Yeah.
seeing
God,
another.
I
Greedo
love this
lookalike.
entrance. Yeah, I love this scene. You know, of this particular character showing up, and obviously Chewie being captured. When I was a kid, I was like, oh my god, like how they captured Chewie? It's crazy. Like, where's
Well,
Luke?
Milton, I'm sure you remember they sold the figure packs like with this bounty hunter and Chewie together.
Right.
Oh,
back
yeah.
then, so
I believe I have
Yeah,
it.
dude.
yep.
Yep, I have her Bausch outfit. So
Yep.
cool.
I love the way this bounty hunter speaks. Like I like this language.
Mm-hmm. Ubies.
Yeah. Yato.
Oh yeah, it's so good.
Yeah.
They're doing a great job with Bausch in the comics right now. They're fleshing out that character. He's got like a whole camaraderie with these other aliens that look like him, and they're exiled from their planet. And
Interesting.
he's working for Dominatag, who is another corporation out there with a lot of money. It's Empire's hiring. But anyway, yeah, I love the attitude that they give Boba Fett in these scenes. Like he's like a ladies' man, and he's just walking around, just hanging out.
Makes
Yeah,
sense to me.
that's some of the best.
Like it adds a little bit of personality. Like he doesn't even have any lines. It just shows you like the reputation. Like they know he's cool, and he can just
Yeah.
do what he wants.
Yeah. Yeah, gosh, that's just I don't know. Like that's see when people ask like that, what why were people critical of the Boba show and how Boba was portrayed? This is why right here,
Yeah.
because you see his personality without him speaking and all, and you're like, man, that's the guy right there.
Dude, Jabba looks so gross. Oh, that reminds me. So when we were watching New Hope, and when my friend finally saw Jabba the Hutt, she's like, Milton, she's like, I now understand why you call people Jabba the Hutts that are like big and gross looking. And I was like, exactly. And she's like, that's so funny. I'm like, yeah, if you like a Jabba the Hutt, that's what I think of. So yeah, I know that's probably terrible to say in real life, but it's true. Just saying.
Hey, I mean, anybody that's
done
seen
it.
Star Wars, anybody that's seen Star Wars, if you say you've never done that before, you're lying.
Facts.
Like-
That's what I'm saying.
like
I'm
you're
like,
lying.
man, like it's the truth. But oh yeah, this scene right here, I love how it sets up how dire the characters that we love thus far. Because again, we didn't know that was Leia, and obviously seeing that this is Lando was kind of dope. So I'm thinking, wait, what is actually going on here? So you clearly see that something's about to pop off.
Oh yeah, I bet that's going to be a story, Chris, in the Certain Point of View book. There's like the Lando stuff.
Oh yeah.
All
I
right.
would guess.
I like these little establishing shots of the frog dog just scooping up the thing.
Now, while we're outside right here, what are your guys' thoughts? Should have the Luke scene been cut or kept?
Oh, with the lightsaber.
Uh,
Part
a
of
tough
me
one,
feels, yeah, part of me feels like I wanted. I mean, I like the scene. I'm look. If you put it in there right now, I wouldn't even care. I'd be fine with it. But then part of it is like, does it ruin the
surprise.
lightsaber surprise with R2? You know, because then we don't know Luke. We didn't even know Luke was even coming at this point.
mm-hmm.
You know, so that kind of you have to kind of rework the film to kind of mask why that was even put in it. But I mean,
yeah.
but
What
it does
purpose
establish a
serve?
connection between Vader and Luke, though, because that scene between Vader
Oh,
and the general guy, that transitions to where Vader's in the elevator commuting to Luke. So
It's a tough one.
it's a tough one because I love the scene. It's a great scene. I wouldn't be against them putting it in, but I'm fine with what they got here too.
Oh, same for sure. Also, like, I think the biggest pro of it being out is, you know, Luke basically went in here unarmed because, you know,
Yes.
or because R2 has his lightsaber, like, so,
Yeah.
you know,
Right,
I feel like that's the biggest
Now in the radio drama, they do have a scene where Luke builds his saber like at Obi-Wan's
pro. I love that.
house,
and
so
they
I
could
wish
do that. Yeah, they could do that in the audio drama because at that point everybody had
Yes.
seen the movie. It's not like they're
Yep.
spoiling anything.
Exactly.
So they could add that extra stuff, which is great. But yeah, in the movie, no, I think it's fine being left out. You know, it just would have taken too much out.
This is great CGI for 1983.
Yeah,
This holds
I
up.
want to see how they do that scene right there. I want to see how they make that magic.
Right. No, Han Solo. Now, fun fact, we weren't sure if Han Solo was coming back. The producers weren't sure if he was coming back for this movie. Well, I wouldn't say Han Solo. Harrison Ford. And Howard Kazanjian, who's a producer of this one, called Harrison, wanted to know if he was going to do it. He's like, "Sure, I'll do it," and they had to rewrite him in, like, because they weren't sure if he was going to come back. Yeah, because he was only contracted to do 2 movies, and then at this point, Harrison Ford was blown up as, you know, that Hollywood megastar, Indiana Jones, all this other stuff, and then finally Howard Kazanjian was like, "Hey, let's try to see if Harrison will come back to complete the trilogy," and he's like, "Yeah, sure, I'll do it," and they had to like rework him in it. So.
Oh.
Yeah. Love this. So Jabba knew the whole time that she was playing him, pretty much, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. God, dude, there's no way I want to stand next to Jabba. He must smell so bad.
Oh my gosh! Look at that stuff coming out of his mouth.
Look, that's what I'm saying. Like, bro.
He just doesn't even care.
That's what I'm saying. Like, all right, this justifies why if I call a nasty person that looks like that Jabba the Hutt. It justifies it. Sorry, I'm not apologizing anymore.
Gosh, I feel like Jabba when I'm eating too much.
Oh,
I mean, facts. Listen, because I'm like that too. Because sometimes when the food's that good, look.
I'm like, whoa, hold on here, Ben. I'm becoming Jabba.
Right. So this might be the scene. What's Jabba's guy again? Who's behind him? What's his name again?
Bib Fortuna.
Bib. They're right here. No, watch Bib. He's like, oh my god. He's like,
yeah. I never noticed that before.
Yeah, he's like, oh my god. He's like, why would he even do that? Bib's repulsed by that. He's like, okay, Jabba, that's too far, bro. Like,
I love Salacious Crumb just laughing away.
Yeah. Right. Now, another fun fact, 'cause I'm just dropping some bombs on you guys. In the radio drama, there's hints. Well, there's inclination that Mara Jade Skywalker might have been here in the palace. Like, you know, yeah. Do you remember this, Ben?
Yeah, I mean, there's hints. She's definitely in here.
No, that's her. Like that's her.
Yeah.
Like that's her character in there.
Yep.
She was like asking about Luke Skywalker or 3PO and that type of thing, and all that type of stuff. And all of a sudden, she winds up like disappearing because she like winds up leaving the palace. But like, I guess at this point, the Emperor was putting Jade on to get Luke. So yeah, that's in the radio drama. So go back and check that out, Chris. It's on YouTube, so you can listen to it on there.
So good.
Why can't they just put her in canon already?
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah, no, this is a great intro, dude. This is Luke's best intro, without question.
Oh, for sure. Just
without question.
It's awesome because he's flirting
Yeah.
with the dark side here. It's like, holy crap.
I
Force
mean, I ain't gonna
choke.
lie. I
Especially-
used to go around just doing that to people, just fake I'm force choking you out.
and being, I mean, all black,
Mhm.
just walking in and doing that, and
Right.
you know,
Oh,
it's
it's a
just,
dog.
It's
Yeah.
oh wow, yeah. It's such
Whoa.
it's just such a great entrance. Like it's like you said, it's definitely his best entrance of every movie.
Right. Well, I mean, look at him. He's wearing the same clothes as his dad, all black, except he don't have the glove on right now. But he's using the Force, in a way that Jedi don't normally use it, except for Anakin. He's very confident at this point. Because I think this film, so in the timeline, Jedi takes place a year after Empire. So, like, he's had a year to train, get attuned with the Force, build a saber, really hone his craft as a Jedi. Because he's had 4 years of training thus far throughout this whole trilogy, which goes back to my original point. There's no way Rey should be wrecking people with only maybe a year of training total in that whole trilogy. That's just me, though. Whatever. But yeah, Luke, badass.
Preaching, Milton. Yeah, no, Luke's incredible in this entire sequence because it just shows his supreme confidence. He's basically he's as close as you can get to being like a master. Like he's there basically.
He's changed. You look at A New Hope, you look at Empire. He's like the farm boy. He's just like happy-go-lucky.
I would say he's Qui-Gon in this movie, basically. Like he's at that level, like right before being a master, but not there yet. Like he's right there.
He's got that Qui-Gon confidence.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Because I can see Qui-Gon doing this.
Right. The difference is Qui-Gon isn't threatening to destroy people. Like Luke says, like, I'm going to destroy you. Which, again, I think Luke still is learning the ways of a Jedi in the sense of how he conducts himself. But at the same time, though, Luke, he's more realistic about it. So he knows if I can't convince this guy, I might have to kill him.
Well, and look at his training, right? He's being taught by books. I mean, he got taught by Yoda a little bit and Ben, but most of that learning is basically on his own.
Dope.
So
facts.
There goes Dengar.
Sure. Yeah. But here's the thing, though. Like the way the Jedi, and this is something I was listening to again on the Revenge of the Sith audiobook. How when Yoda fights Palpatine, like he's having an internal dialogue with himself, saying like, "Oh, I already lost this battle. The Jedi trained for the old ways of the Sith, but the Sith have evolved." Luke, in this case, he was like, yeah, I'm learning the old ways of the Jedi, but we have to evolve. Like, you guys were lost for this reason. You guys were so dogmatic and didn't change. It's okay to feel. It's okay to have connections. That makes us what we are.
For sure. Well, that and, bringing up like his like Jedi training and, his like philosophies and stuff. Another thing to keep in mind, as we're watching, just, even for our listeners and us viewing it too, keep in mind how accurate the CGI for Book of Boba was with Luke compared to this version of Luke. It looks so similar. Like,
facts.
Just crazy.
Well, even this scene with the Rancor, like, this is a puppet, dude. This is a puppet.
This is all Phil Tippett, and I watched that episode 3 of Light and Magic this week, and it might have been called the Phil Tippett episode because, man, that guy created magic with the AT-ATs, and you see that picture all online where it's like him and the model of the Rancor, and it's like this guy, absolutely stunning work.
So about
to say,
speaking of that episode, what'd you think? I told y'all.
Oh yeah, I
need to watch it still.
The Phil Tippett stuff's off the chain. Yeah, this still holds up. I mean, this stop animation still holds up till this day.
This is that classic scene, like that's been done 100 times before this in like those Roman movies and stuff with the Cyclops and Godzilla and all that. But I mean, I would say this is probably the best thing at the time for that sort of
most
thing.
Iconic,
easily.
Well, and it was nice about the stop motion to animation is that if this was CGI, he'd be moving way too fast, and for the scale of it, we need him to look slower because he's bigger. We have to like slow it down, which I love how the stop animation kind of forces them to say, hey, his speed has to be adjusted where he's got to be slower. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah. If it was CGI, I mean, this would just be all over the place. Like, I don't even know how they would shoot it, but it would be all over the place.
Yeah. And God, Princess Leia is so hot in that bikini.
You gotta
Facts.
think about the poor Rancor. It's like that Rancor has no room to move, man. I feel bad
Right.
for it. It stays there all the time. Does
I
Jabba take it out for walks?
mean,
Like, what's going on here?
fa- I mean, I hear what you're saying, but if I'm Luke, I ain't feeling bad. I ain't trying to die.
Yeah, no.
Right.
Sense of
Now,
relief.
I always laughed at this part when I was younger because I'm like, why is this big old white dude crying over a Rancor?
Yeah.
You
Oh,
know?
I know. I always thought it was funny too because it's
I'm like,
just so goofy.
yeah.
But
I'm
it's
like,
like
put a shirt on, bro.
everybody has like their dog, no matter how hideous it is, and that's his special pet. You
Yeah,
know?
Yeah.
that's the dog that's gotten ran over 5 times and fallen off something, and yep, that's our family dog. We still love it.
Right.
Again, that's that like Star Wars weirdness, right? Like only Star Wars can pull stuff like that off, where it's so bizarre, but it just works and it's
Right.
crazy. Like you have a giant elephant man in the background. Like what the heck is his deal? Like this is Star Wars, man.
Oh, it's so great.
Dude, I tell you what, man, I think, Chris, you have the Luke Skywalker black uniform, right? Like you wear that
Mm-hmm.
for cosplay?
Oh yeah.
Do you have the actual like vest like he's wearing now? Because I know you have
No,
the like
I want to get that though. The
the
tunic.
tunic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like the
It's,
design. Yeah, I gotta get that.
I love this outfit with Luke. I mean, and now I definitely like it when he doesn't have the tunic on. Like that's a great look too. But like, man, like he looks so good like as a Jedi wearing all black.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, oh yeah. To me, when I think of Luke, I think of his all black outfit.
Hmm.
Like I don't think about like the other versions, whether it be from the sequels or even episode 4 or 5. Like I feel like Return of the Jedi is the version of Luke. I mean that's why I would arguably say used that version in Mando and Boba because like that's the version people like
Hmm.
really I feel like connect with.
Right.
I'll tell
No,
you what.
this is a great shot. Go ahead, Ben. Or excuse me,
I
Chris.
I really like the idea of the 4K imaging of having this to watch because a lot of the times on VStar or DVD you couldn't even make out some of these background characters, but now everything's so crisp. I'm like looking forward if I'm like I see a tentacle thing hanging from the ceiling. What the heck is that? I've never seen that before, right? So it's like these
Mm.
crowded scenes with all these aliens, which is why I love this so much. Like it's
Yeah.
nice getting all the detail now.
Well, just think with this whole sequence coming up out here, like this is where Milton from some of the old legend stuff. This is where Mara Jade was at basically where Luke
Wow.
had that vision of her, so basically he goes through this whole plan in his head and when he's out on the diving board basically, he had this whole plan play out through his whole head before, like in a force vision and then basically it fails in his force vision because when he goes to do his whole flip and all that stuff and comes back to grab his lightsaber, spoiler, he the lightsaber goes flying over and Mara Jade's like at the end of the sail barge and grabs it so like that's kind of what was in the old legend stuff like Mara Jade, he was having visions of her back then and like that's how it was connected and then of course
Right.
since that was a vision she was gone like Milton said she left earlier.
Right.
Oh, that's interesting.
Now,
Yep.
are you guys a fan of the special edition redesign of the Sarlacc pit?
Oh yeah, I love it. I love the beak. It's
Mm,
just an added layer of terrifying nature of this thing that's gonna swallow
Well,
you whole.
I think it puts more stakes in this scene. Now, the CGI, I think the CGI is kind of questionable,
Yep.
but it's not trash, but like it's questionable. Now they obviously enhanced it in Boba Fett, for sure. But I like that they made this they made it more of a character.
Oh, for sure. Just instead of being like a hole in the ground, basically.
Right.
I really like the slight appearance change in Chewbacca's fur and how he's got like the bangs going on in this one.
Yeah.
I like the detail of Jabba just speaking into his, old ass looking megaphone thing.
Right.
So great.
This is one of my favorite moments in all of Star Wars coming up in a few seconds here.
Facts. Well, let's be real. I'm gonna ask this question. Did you all do this on a diving board? You had to
Oh
at
yeah.
one point. Facts. We've all tried it.
For sure. I mean, when we were down in West Virginia a month ago, like I attempted it on the diving board and about flopped.
Right.
Fire. Yeah, ignite the green.
Now, what was your reaction when you first saw a green saber?
I was like, that's my new favorite color.
Yeah.
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 The reason why I like green is because of Luke's lightsaber. I'm not even kidding. Like, that's it.
When we can
That's
clearly
great.
see Luke has improved as a duelist, or I take that back, as a saber user. However, I mean, let's be real. Luke has never been the greatest duelist when it comes to a saber,
Yeah.
but he wouldn't have the opportunity to really like practice, if that makes sense.
Well, I mean, his dueling style and this whole sequence is I'm just gonna hack everybody up.
Yeah.
I just noticed something in this movie. So in the background, there's Gamorreans that are like, they're like frantically like taking a tan tarp off of the big cannon on that skin.
Yeah.
They're like,
That's
oh
great.
crap, we gotta get this
Right.
gun ready to go. Oh gosh. But I think the reason why they actually did the lightsaber green because they couldn't have a blue lightsaber with all the blue
Yep.
sky. Isn't that like the
Yeah.
practical reason?
Yeah, it was something like
I would
that. I
say.
think it just showed up green or something was going on. They just figured, let's just change the color too. So it works. I mean, look, happy accident. It works.
Oh yeah.
There
And
goes
it just
Yak
shows
Face.
like his progression. Yep.
Yeah.
Good old Yak Face.
Now-
We got
This scene is very brutal for, a PG movie. And I love it. Love it.
Oh yeah.
You got that right. Leia
Yeah.
Hutt Slayer is
Right.
mentioned in Star Wars Bloodline.
Yep.
She's like nobody
remember-
messes with her because that story has gotten out that she's the killer of Java.
Well,
She's got this reputation
remember-
built up.
Oh yeah, I remember as a kid, like when I watched that scene, like when Jabba's like, oh, like that always grossed me out. There's that noise. I was always like, ugh, like just so gross sounding.
Right. Just a little higher. Just a little higher. I love when he just starts screaming.
Yeah.
Oh, Billy D's great in this.
Yeah. Now, yeah, this scene definitely makes Luke like a badass. You can definitely tell Luke was training over the year, and he's gotten better. Like when it comes to his power and how to just be more confident.
Dang.
I
he
mean,
just-
like,
I love when
if
he
you guys
deflects
think
that.
about it. Oh yeah, it's great. Like his, this just establishes like why people love Luke so much. Like he's taking on all of these people just basically single-handedly. Like
Oh, yeah.
even, say if you didn't even have like the Chewie and Han and Lando help, like Luke still would have been wrecking shop just like this basically.
Right.
I love the
But-
Star Wars like version of basically Pirates of the Caribbean right now.
Mhm.
And think about it,
Yep.
it's like they're on an ocean of sand. They have the small boats, you have the big pirate ship, and it's a swashbuckler right now. They like George Lucas literally made a swashbuckler in the galaxy far, far away, which is what he
Yep.
did with a lot of his scenes, just like taking something and just like modernizing it in like science fiction, science fantasy, and it works so well.
Right. No, it's amazing, and I just love how Luke, yeah, the way he's being a defensive fighter, but also too like he's aggressive when he needs to be. Again, he don't have to be the best with a saber, but he's good with it. You can tell like he's gotten better.
Oh yeah.
I like the
Leia looks fine in all
acknowledgement
these.
of Luke. Like he's still learning. He ended up getting shot, and it also shows that like, hey, he's got that robotic cybernetic arm. Like,
Yep.
oh, in case you forgot,
Yep.
he's got a hand that's mechanical. And just the explosion, it looks so good,
Mhm.
blowing that thing up. Now we have to look very closely, guys, because do we see a Bib Fortuna anywhere in the background there? Because
Escaping somehow.
yeah,
Right.
he was definitely on there, right? Did we see him? I meant to.
He was on there,
He was on there. He was like behind Jabba in those scenes, I believe.
Okay.
but it
But
makes
he-
sense if he would have escaped because he's kind of a sleazeball.
He probably, I guarantee you, soon as Luke did his whole jump around thing, he's probably thought, okay, time to get out of here and left.
We'll get that story from a certain point of view, guarantee it. Or I
Him
can't guarantee
and,
it, but
what's
that
his
would be a
name,
good
the
idea.
little. Oh yeah, him. Oh yeah, that all the people that escaped, they probably all hopped on an extra little sail barge and just went out the back of the scene the other way.
Yeah, exactly. Man, Luke needs
No,
a
this,
new helmet. That thing is scratched up to all hell.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's like his battles in Rogue Squadron and all. There we go. Our first look at the TIE interceptors. And just the massive scale. Look at the scale. Look at all those fighters. That's insane.
Dude's the Empire. They're just cranking them out like a factory.
Jeez. I'm pretty sure they said
So
this is a
great.
matte painting. Like this whole thing right here is a matte painting.
Mm-hmm.
With
Yep.
like a couple things moving.
Yeah, but it's still. I mean, it holds up. Like you couldn't even tell unless you like knew that.
Yeah, just think, guys, we're like 36, 37 minutes into this, and we just now got off Tatooine. But that's how good like the movie's been.
Oh, this movie's amazing. It's amazing.
Now we finally get to see this guy. You know, like compared to what I mean, we've seen Palpatine in the special re-releases back in 97, 98, but at the time, this is the first time we got to see him in live. You know, like how dope is that? And it's like, all right, who the hell is this guy?
Well, just
Vader-
think he looked different.
Right, and Vader's bowing to him. You know, what? Here's the thing, though. This would not be allowed to happen in today's film, and what I mean is, we have Darth Vader established in the first two films as the most badass character, you know, when it comes to evil. Then all of a sudden, you see him see this old guy in the second movie, thinking like, "Oh, this is his master, okay." But then in this in this third movie, we're going to say, let's make someone even more badass show up and make Vader a sympathetic character. Like we would not get that today because movie execs will say, nope, Vader needs to be the guy. I don't want an old guy to be leading the charge. That's goofy. That's weird. No, George Lucas told this story the right way because Vader is bound to this old man and submissive to him.
It's not about your physicality. It's about your mind. Your force of will.
He's the anti-Yoda, you know, when it comes to these movies.
Well, just think, guys, with the Emperor, I'm pretty sure I added it up before. Like in canon, I think I'm not sure in like current canon, but I mean before like Legends, he was like in his 90s in this movie or something.
I don't know. They haven't given us an actual age in the canon.
They didn't really give us a date, but I think you're right. I think he might be right. Like, because I mean, I'm sure
like
the Force,
90s.
Yeah, I'm sure the Force, you know, helped him. I mean, look at Yoda; he's 800 years old. Like, I know his species, you don't know what it is, but like, the Force probably helped him prolong his life. And the Emperor, you know, he's dark. He is the Sith, so.
I am all of the Sith. You're right.
Right.
He can keep himself going with Sith alchemy and all the other crap.
Now, do you guys know what this movie was supposed to be titled before it was Return of the Jedi?
Yep. Do you, Ben?
It was something Sith, right? Was it Revenge of the Sith? No, Return of the Sith.
It was Revenge of the Jedi.
Oh, Revenge of the Jedi. Okay, that's what it was. Okay, yeah,
now,
I knew it was
I have
something
that poster.
like that.
I have that poster here in my house.
I've seen the poster.
Yeah, it's framed here in my house, Revenge of the Jedi, and it's like lightsaber colors are. It's pretty much the Empire Strikes Back like pose between Luke and Vader, but the lightsaber colors are switched. So Vader has the blue, Luke has the red. I believe Drew Struzan painted that picture. It's supposed to be Revenge of the Jedi, but Lucas decided to go Return of the Jedi, which is better for this particular film.
Well, for the whole saga in general, because
absolutely
Jedi don't. Revenge signifies,
right?
You know, attacking and assaulting and all that kind of bad stuff. Like you don't want to have a Jedi. It's supposed to be defense, not instigating things.
I feel like with that, if hypothetically, say if they would have kept that, I feel like George probably would have reworked the entire prequels. Like, you know, you would have had to change the whole philosophy of the Jedi then, basically.
Right. Now, I've always liked this scene between Luke and Yoda. Now, I know as a kid I didn't quite understand what was going on because I was like, another. And I couldn't remember that from Empire until I went back and watched it as I got older. But, you know, the whole Vader thing, that made sense to me. But then the whole, like, sister thing, I was like, what? This was weird. But you learn to appreciate it, I think, as you've gotten older for sure.
Yeah, it's just... it's one of those scenes, as a kid, I was like, all right, I just need to fast forward through this, I want to see the Ewoks, I want to get there. And it's like,
Yep.
but now this is one of the scenes that as an adult, you're just like, okay, these are the last moments of a Jedi Master. I lived through so much.
Yeah.
And he's holding on to the last moment of his life before he actually tells the heartbreaking truth he's been trying to just not talk about.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, just think Yoda's been hanging on. I mean, Yoda's, gosh, his health crashed in just the year. Because if it's only been, say a year between Empire and Jedi, like, I think he was so like energetic and everything in Empire, and then it's like, well, I hit that wall. It's time to move on to the Force world.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, and look, I know Yoda's chastising Luke for going early and all that stuff, but he had to. I mean, it just wouldn't make sense if he didn't go.
Oh, if he didn't go, I mean, we would have an entirely different story for this movie.
Mm-hmm. Now, what's nice about this?
There's your what if story for a what if series for Star Wars.
Facts.
What if Luke didn't go?
What was nice about this movie that I appreciate and I picked up on, there's two things in this particular sequence. One, and I'll get to the second one later, but one is that Obi-Wan and Yoda continue to tell Luke, you got to go face the Emperor. You got to kill your dad, pretty much. And Luke's like, no, there's a better way. I can step to him and I can save him. I can bring him back. They're still good in him. But you have these two old heads who are like, nah, we tried that. He's got to go. And Luke's like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do what the old Jedi were going to do, pretty much.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
I kind of love that,
Well,
because he's like, I'm not going to respect my elders on this. I'm going to challenge you guys. There's a better way to defeat this evil.
Well, think about it that way. Like, I mean, in Revenge of the Sith, Obi-Wan and Yoda flat out said, we're just going to go kill Anakin and the Emperor. Let's go.
Exactly.
Like, that's all they said. They weren't going to negotiate. Like, Obi-Wan went there with the full intent to kill Anakin. Like, I mean, as soon as that whole fight started, he was in the zone, like ready to take him out. I mean, and then with Yoda was even more. Yoda walked in with the full intent to not even try. Like,
yeah.
It's gonna be
Luke sells this scene so well. Oh my god, dude. He sells this so well.
Mark Hamill's acting is on point.
Yeah, dude. Mark, how do you work with a puppet and make it like you make that puppet? He makes it real.
Mm-hmm.
Even how Yoda dies and like he loses his last breath and the old disappearing.
Now
Now,
getting into this scene,
Yeah,
with
go ahead.
having watched Obi-Wan the miniseries, we have new context going into like why Obi-Wan would just say kill him. He's
Yep.
not. I tried.
Yep.
He's gone. I tried. Believe me. If I can't get him,
Right.
then you're not gonna get him to turn.
Exactly. But what's crazy about this scene, this is my second point, is that in each film, Luke, you can definitely tell Luke is becoming more attuned with the Force with Obi-Wan's appearance. So in the first movie, he just hears his voice.
Mm-hmm.
And the second one, you barely see him on Hoth, but he sees
Kind of
him a
misty
little.
or something.
Yeah, he sees him more clearly at the end of Empire. And now that he's fully becoming a Jedi, he sees him clearly. Obi-Wan can interact with like his natural like habitat around him. Like that just shows how Luke's power, in my opinion, has elevated. Which I think his connection with Obi-Wan has elevated because of that.
Yeah, and we see in your favorite movie, The Last Jedi, how Yoda's walking and interact with stuff in reality. So you got that too.
Yeah, except for it's not my favorite movie, but that's funny.
I mean, look, even in Rise though, I mean, Luke catches the lightsaber.
Yeah, true.
Oh yeah.
I mean, at that point, like they're showing even from saving this movie specifically, like Force Ghost. I mean, Obi-Wan says, if you strike me down, I'll become more powerful. Blah 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 blah. Like that whole thing. It's because now the Force Ghosts are literally interacting with the environment. Of course, like Star Wars may not ever go down that route, because if you start having Force Ghosts fighting and getting involved, like then you could mess with stuff. But
I think at one point that was going to happen with this original script. I'm pretty sure I read this somewhere that Luke, or excuse me, Ben, or maybe Yoda was going to come back from like the
Oh yeah,
netherworld.
I'll break that whole down at the end. I know the whole story for that one.
I'm pretty sure that was like the plan, but he scrapped it. Which again, that's better for the film. Because again, I'm thinking, wait a minute, why would they bring him out of the netherworld if they trained to go there? Post death. So.
Yep. Oh yeah, I'll break that down when we get to the ghost at the end.
Right.
Also, I was going to mention too, guys. So far, like the Tatooine stuff, inside of Jabba's palace, outside, and now these scenes. The lighting on all these scenes are like on point because there's a lot of movies, even nowadays with all the graphics and everything. The lighting is either too dark or too bright or weird, and like they are nailing the lighting on all of this in cinematography.
And by the way, just the environments, the variety, where it keeps you engaged, going from a desert world to dungeons on the inside, to a state-of-the-art space station, to a boggy place in the middle of nowhere.
Inside a hut.
Yeah.
Right.
Great job for appealing to the eye. Now we have the Rebel fleet has been brought back to one thing. So in the current Star Wars comics, it's pretty neat. They have the main Star Wars comics are telling how after the Battle of Hoth, the Imperials scattered the Rebel fleets all over. There was hunter-killer fleets led by Commander Zara, who has been targeting these fleets and using their communications to track them and destroy them. So we had just finished issue number 24, where like all the Rebel like scattered fleets have gotten together finally after defeating Zara. So it's now watching this, I'm like, yeah, the fleet's back together.
Oh yeah, I love it. Like seeing Lando here, all the whole gang. It really sets the tone of like why people loved the big three and like big four now with Lando, like all these people back together again. Of course we're getting Mon Mothma now, and we're going to be seeing her here in a few weeks. And man, if not, like I swear, like Genevieve O'Reilly literally looks just like this lady.
Yep.
Dude, it's perfect casting. Like it's without question perfect casting.
Can't get over it.
It's crazy. And because honest to God, like you can clearly see there's a difference at times, but then I'm thinking there's really not a difference. Her character just looks a bit older, which is fine. That makes sense because her character she would be older. And I'm thinking, oh, that's perfect. It's just like Obi-Wan. Yes, I know Alec Guinness was the guy, but yeah, Ewan McGregor's Obi-Wan Kenobi. Like most kids would
see where it goes to.
Exactly. Most kids could probably look back and say, yeah, that's both Obi-Wan. We know. Like, obviously our boy or Akbar, the first time we got to see him in these movies.
Gotta love him.
Dude, the CGI for this is fire. Like this is dope. Like this is one of their first time using like enhanced computer graphics to tell a story. Again, people forget like this was 1983, like, and this looks like this could have been done, in 2015, whatever, so.
Yeah.
Well, think even before that might have been 81, 82 when they were developing the CGI even before.
Yeah.
General Nadine, I want to get this guy's backstory.
Yeah.
I used to have his figure actually.
There's like a whole thing around him. Like apparently, like they gave him a fake beard, or something.
Oh yeah, it
looks fake.
It's a fake beard. I think there was something with his hair too, as well. I'm pretty sure.
Oh man.
Gosh, Star Wars and their fake beards. I mean, Obi-Wan had his CGI beard or whatever in Attack of the Clones and some of those scenes.
Wait, what?
So. Oh yeah, just later on, Chris. After this, you'll have to look it up. Okay, so when Obi-Wan's saying this weapon is your life to Anakin outside the bar, his beard and that whole thing, like the bottom part of his beard and stuff that's CG. And
why?
That's why people crack jokes about it, because I guess Ewan had his beard was shaved or something during that shooting process, and that was a CG beard for that sequence.
Can we get some love for the nice hanger shots in Star Wars? I mean,
dude, that's
a
matte painting, right? But here's the thing,
that's a matte painting.
You wouldn't even know.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, that's Chris. It got you, because that's a matte painting right there. That whole shot when it first opened up.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's how. Now, this is.
Yeah, you've seen the behind the scenes for that too, Milton.
Yeah, it's so good. Like I'm thinking, like how? I'm like that looked real to me. Now clearly we see the difference here. when he walks towards the Falcon.
Yep.
Well,
You know,
that's
but
the original volume.
Yeah.
They definitely like, use that, and you can clearly see like, okay, that didn't age well, but I don't care. I still love the shot. But when it first opens up, yeah, that's all a matte painting. So like it's
Dang.
dude, it got you, Chris, like because you thought that was legit, didn't you? Like
Yeah, no, that's a matte.
man.
I love it. Like I mean, because it's such a great scene.
But it adds so much depth, and this is why I love Star Wars, because you believe it. You get sold into it, where you're like, this is a massive hangar bay. It has all these ships. It feels lived in. It feels used. It feels like these guys are rebels, and that's what we're here to believe.
Right. I mean, this scene is cool. I'm glad that we got the three back together finally.
Yep, exactly.
This movie needed, and I think that's one of my things about. And I know I don't want to be that person today, but I think that's one of my critiques about the sequel trilogy is that we didn't at least get a scene with the three of them together, at least
Don't
like
worry.
a couple scenes.
We're getting it. We're getting it in Mandalorian somehow, some shape or form.
Okay.
I mean, it's not going to be the same.
Yeah.
Not everybody's around
I
still,
got you.
but
So
we'll get something like that.
right.
Oh,
So
yeah.
now we have the reverse Jedi temple here with the Empire. I love it.
Yeah, with the tower.
Yes.
I
So
made a
great.
joke a couple weeks ago where it was like, hey, why can't you see the tower on the Death Star from a distance? Because that thing looks like it's 1,000 feet jutting out of the surface of the Death Star, but it's just like, all right, the thing is so massive, it doesn't matter. You can't see it from a distance.
All right.
Vader is so shiny in Return of the Jedi. It's the one thing I noticed about his character.
Well, he
There's
doesn't
so
go
many
anywhere.
bright lights.
Yeah, but he doesn't go anywhere in this movie. He doesn't do anything. I mean, not saying he doesn't do anything, but like he doesn't have to encounter anyone in this film. Does
He
that make
goes to
sense?
Endor at nighttime.
Yeah. Like I mean, because think about it. In New Hope, well, in Rogue One, he's wrecking the rebels, which goes right into New Hope, where he's getting on the ship, and he's chasing for the plans. In Empire, he's on Hoth trying to wreck people. He's looking for Luke the whole time, so he's getting scuffed. But this one, he's just chilling.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, Admiral Piet, I think people don't realize him being alive in this movie is a big deal because think about Vader was just killing everyone in the second movie.
Yep.
And to bring him back, something maybe might have changed in Vader. We don't know.
Yeah.
God, I love Han Solo in this film. He's just a dick. He's like, fly casual. He's like, come on, dude.
Shuttle tide
Now,
theory.
do you think Vader knew Luke was on that ship?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, 100%. I think so. I think without a doubt, just because of what do you call it? I mean, the Emperor basically says it. He let all this happen.
Right.
Like he had a feeling it was going to happen. And even without that, I feel like even though Luke is, as we said, extremely powerful, I still feel like he's not strong enough to like say hide himself in the Force for Vader, basically, potentially.
See, yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he knows. I mean, and honestly, I think Vader's thinking, well, I can get to Luke first before the Emperor does.
Yeah. Well, that, and you got to think about it this way too. Say Vader is having those like creeping thoughts about maybe overthrowing the Emperor. Why not just let the rebels down to Endor?
Yeah.
I mean, cause more chaos.
We haven't mentioned how great the music is in this. Of course, John Williams, great John Williams.
Mm-hmm.
Iconic shot.
God,
Oh yeah.
So great. Yeah.
Just the Death Star with Vader unlocking its construction.
Now, the Redwoods in California was where they shot most of this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, Northern California.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's either a national park or just a major just a major park in general. But it's the Redwood Park there.
The rebel commandos sneaking behind enemy lines.
My cousin actually went to that park, by the way.
Oh.
And he said it was crazy because it was literally like stepping onto Endor, because he said it's like exactly what you'd imagine, like it's just Star Wars basically.
Right.
Wow.
Arrogant Han Solo. It's me. All right, Han Solo, you jerk. I think this is probably my favorite scene in this entire movie, besides the lightsaber. Oh no, besides the saber duel and the end chase and on the Death Star. But this speeder chase, I love it. Like I still think it holds up.
Oh yeah. I love the whole behind the scenes on how they shot it too.
Mm-hmm.
Them walking through the forest and speeding up the footage and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Like, it's great.
Sure, Chewie's a great shot.
Yeah. And what's nice about the scene though too, like you have no doubts that Luke and Leia can handle these speeders because of their parents. Like they're the children of Anakin and Padme, and we've seen Luke, or excuse me, we've seen Padme or Anakin, do pod racing. So like you would think, okay, these guys can handle it.
Well, think about like from the the reaction time, you would have to have the Force and/or be highly trained to do that. Just because like one wrong little move, you're hitting a tree. I mean, we see it with some of the stormtroopers.
Dude, the sound for this is amazing.
I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, we got to give Ben Burtt some credit because the way he shot, like the sound for these speeders and the turning and all that stuff is fire.
Yeah, like how when they move past the camera, like the sound pans and all that. It's great. Yeah. I have the toy for the speeder bike, like when I was a kid, and I remember, I don't know what happened to the forks of the speeder, but I always had the speeder bike. I guess it like had that function to explode with a button. So
I had
without
that too.
the forks. It's like, oh well,
this
is a modified speeder bike.
Yep. Yeah, no, I always thought about these scenes when I was riding like dirt bikes as a kid and stuff,
Right. I thought this was cool how he just backs back. Like
that's awesome. They have so much mobility to be able to do that. I think only a Jedi could be able to pull that off with the G-forces to be able to hold on like that.
Right.
Yeah, and this is like such an iconic that like so many Star Wars stories since then have had some kind of speeder bike chase. I mean, in the most recent novel, Shadow of the Sith, Luke and Lando are trailing these bounty hunters, and they're on this planet with speeder bikes, and it's Luke with his lightsaber swinging at things on the speeder bike. It's amazing. He's like standing on the speeder bike, deflecting blaster bolts with his green saber.
Oh yeah, there's so many speeder bikes. Like you said, you have that story. You have, I always reference the Tartakovsky Clone Wars. You have Kenobi riding his speeder bike into battle with his lightsaber and jumps off of it and all that. Like, there's so many instances of speeder bikes being used in Star Wars, and it all comes from this sequence.
Or in video games, you got Shadows of the Empire, swoop bikes. They quickly became one of my favorite things in all of Star Wars. Swoop bike race, not race, but like chase, dash Rendar.
Look, even the use of Darth Maul's swoop bike, Anakin's.
You play this level in Super Return of the Jedi, and it's freaking hard.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I've played through it so many times.
Yeah, it's hard. I love this when Luke flips off. I like that Luke used his saber here. This is my favorite scene for sure, and he just cranks it out. And I'm thinking, oh, Luke's that nice with a saber at this point. Like I'm thinking, okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like I'm thinking, I didn't really.
It shows you how powerful lightsaber is too.
Yeah. My only thing about this film, I wish he would have used it a little bit more, because he only used his lightsaber like 3 times. And I just wish he would have used it a little bit more, but it's fine. I'm just being a jerk and selfish about it, but because the saber just looks so great when he breaks it out.
Oh yeah, the animation, or I guess CG or whatever it would be called for the saber, I guess, the green just looks so good the way it's used on all of these environments.
Right.
And especially now that they're in a forest.
Yeah, it's cool seeing Han with the trench coat with the camouflage.
Yeah. Yeah, I love how Han has the trench coat and then Luke has more just the poncho, like Jedi type poncho.
I'm surprised you don't have that jacket, Chris.
Yeah, I could get all. That's the thing. I could have a different version of Luke every day if I wanted to. One with the tunic, one with the there you go, that thing, and then I have to buy a helmet somewhere and put one together.
Milton, if I ever become a hunter, I'll just wear this Endor gear, the hat, the poncho.
Ah,
I wouldn't be against it.
Yeah.
Warwick Davis.
So good. Just think, he went from being just a little background. I mean, not even background character because Wicket's pretty big in this film, but he went from being basically a side character on this show to, all of the Star Wars fandom stuff he's been involved with the fans, with hosting celebrations and just all his different panels and everything. Like, it's crazy. Because he was probably only what, 8 or 9, 10 years old.
Yeah, I believe he was like
young.
9 or 10 or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like, because I think they talk about this in the documentary, or at one point, I remember seeing like where he accidentally got this role.
Yeah, because the guy, what's his name? Who's R2?
Oh God,
R2's actor.
I forget.
Kenny Baker.
Yeah.
Kenny Baker. He got sick that day, and so they needed somebody to play Wicket. So they got Warwick Davis. He was, because it was. I'm pretty sure it was Kenny Baker was supposed to play him, and it may have not been, but I feel like I'm like 95% on that. But he, anyways, the actor who was going to play him got sick that day, and they needed somebody like now. So they ended up getting him to play him, and that's how he ended up sticking with the role. Yeah, it was in one of the behind the scenes. I don't remember which one it was.
I remember watching it somewhere.
Oh, it was from the one Milton on Disney Plus, like it's the one with all the side characters documentary, like with Jeremy Bullock. It's from that one.
Okay. Now, what are you guys' thoughts on the Ewoks? I believe like originally he wanted Wookiees instead of Ewoks, but he
I
went
love
with
the
this idea.
Ewoks. I love their ingenuity. I love how they act, how they behave, and their diminutive nature, which triumphs over the Empire. I think it works better with them than the Wookiees.
Oh, for sure. Like, because the Empire, is so much more overconfident, and then you have, I feel like with Wookiees, I don't know how. I mean, I guess you would just have to reshoot. A lot of this you'd have to just reshoot because Wookiees practically, I don't know, you couldn't really sneak them around the forest it would, I mean, I hate to say it, but it's kind of like you'd look like you'd be having a big battle of the Bigfoots, basically. And I don't know how an army of Wookiees would actually look.
I mean, we saw it in
We
Revenge
saw it in
of the
Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean,
I don't know. I mean, that's tough one. That's a tough one because I'm not sure how it would just play out though with like all our characters, like how Leia would react. How, I mean, I guess you'd have to revamp it. I feel like because if they would have went the Wookiee route, George would have for sure had him being like related to Chewie somehow, or it would have been like that route. I bet.
right.
Yeah, the only thing is with the Darth Vader story is I feel like there might be some repetition with what he does in the movie. It's like he's with the Emperor, then he goes back to the Star Destroyer, then he comes back to the Emperor again, then he goes back down to Endor, then he goes back to the Emperor again. Like, he is really like the Emperor's errand boy at this point. He's just going back.
That's what I'm saying. Like they,
But that was Chris's point or Milton's point to start. Like, this Emperor, this guy, old guy, is that powerful.
Yeah, like you now made Vader sympathetic. You made him like want to relate to the audience, and I think it's smart. I mean, again, story wise, it holds up. It needed to be this way. You know, I don't want to argue
Well,
that. I'm
I
just
think it
saying,
lays
like,
the breadcrumbs for when Luke starts saying,
yes,
basically turn it, in the back of your heads, subconsciously, even that's kind of like, oh, I can maybe see where this is like slowly building to
right.
that moment.
Yeah, he's like, his compassion for you will be his compassion will be undoing. Like, he's saying like Luke has connection to you, and he's like, I feel like you might have it as well. But Vader's like, oh no, I'm clear, but we really know he's not. You know, and my question is, we all know that the dark side can cloud the vision of the Jedi. Can the dark side cloud the vision of the Sith as well? Because maybe I don't think Palpatine's clouded, but I think he's sensing like Vader is clouded in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
Well,
It's-
that, or is it even is it the whole thing of like, even you see it in other movies too, is it like, Palpatine can see the future, but when is that taking place type
Right.
thing,
Yeah.
I think that's a factor as well.
Now with Palpatine, I'm thinking, what is he doing exactly on the Death Star? Like, he's looking into space. Is he like using the Force to premeditate certain events or something like that in Legends? Like, what is he doing?
I think Palpatine is so obsessed with himself and what's next. Because think about it, the Jedi always looked inward when it comes to sitting at the temple. See how they sit in a circle. They look at each other. They're all about them. They're all about being selfless. Palpatine's opposite. He's like, I'm selfish. I want more out there. What's beyond the outer rim. What power's out there? What else can I absorb? Yeah. That's why his back is always to everybody, and he's looking out into space. He cares about no one else except for himself and what he can conquer.
Well,
so yeah, go ahead.
Oh, go on, Milton. Oh,
I was
just gonna say.
I think his mind's always on the next journey and always on the next thing to conquer. And obviously, he's like Luke and Vader. He's like, I'll handle them. I'm not worried about them. But he's like, I want what's out there.
He's thinking about the Yuzong Vong invasion. That's what he's thinking about. He's thinking this Death Star is going to be ready just in time to wipe them off the face of the galaxy.
He's thinking about Admiral Thrawn. He's thinking about Yuzong Vong. He's seeing Darth Kaitis. You know what I'm saying? Jaina Solo.
Man, guys, what if we get a thing? Now this is real wild, but what if we get a thing in, like, say with Thrawn and Ezra in the Mandoverse? Like, it's like somehow parallel right around this time. And, it's an off-screen thing of Palpatine somehow talking to, like, a staticky Thrawn, saying, hey, where are you? Blah, blah, blah. Like.
Yeah, fire.
Oh. That would be sick.
Yeah.
That could be your connecting point for general audiences, maybe.
Or, like, he's communicating with the Sith cultists on Exegol. Being like, is my clone body prepared,
Yeah. I mean, anything. Also, practically, I do think, we got to think about it as well. Like, he knew, I mean, Vader just reported basically the rebel stuff. So the Emperor probably is also turning around looking, going, well, when are they going to show up? Like, just in the now.
Right. Now, I'll be honest with you, this is probably one of my least favorite parts of the film. Just when the Ewoks trap Luke and Han and all those guys and they start worshiping 3PO, I was like, oh, this is kind of corny. but I see the payoff whenever they are accepted into the tribe, especially from Luke's perspective.
We can all agree this works better with Ewoks than Wookiees, correct?
Yeah, without question.
I mean, I could understand like a 20-year-old watching Return of the Jedi and being so jaded by this at this point. Like, oh my gosh, like there's teddy bears and stuff. I could see like if this movie came out now with Twitter, I could see there'd be like a
it wouldn't hold
divide.
up now. Here's the thing. I think you're right. I think if it's made now, it wouldn't hold up. I think because we all have the lore and the love for it, it still holds up in our now because of how we play it out. I think the instant reaction in 2022, it'd be like, oh, this is trash. It'd be like Canto Bite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know
well, because we just saw Luke do all this stuff. Why can't Luke just whip out his lightsaber and chop all these people, these Ewoks up, or use the Force? Like,
yeah. And it's Han Solo. Han Solo ain't gonna let no little babies mess with him like this. Like it's, you know, and I mean, and again, I'm not trying to be a hater. Like I get how it makes sense for 83, you know, and even watching it now as a 35-year-old adult, I mean, yeah, I can see how it connects. But again, like I mentioned, if this was 2022 with how filmmaking is done today and storytelling is told, there's no way a movie studio would be like, nah, we got to reamp this. We can't let it drag like this.
Well, I mean, realistically, all these movies, I'd say Empire holds up probably the best if you just carbon copy it.
Yep.
But I think this movie and even A New Hope, you would revamp different parts of it to fit modern, like film critics and stuff like that. But maybe, yeah. I mean, it's tricky to please the internet.
And that's the thing. Yeah, Twitter and Instagram wasn't around in 1980 something. You know what I'm saying? So like that's the benefit about being able to tell your own stories, not to worry about that instant backlash or instant interaction from the fans.
Can you imagine if Chief Chirpa just like turned on the activator switch and just killed about 3 of his own people with the lightsaber? He's just waving it around like nonchalantly, doesn't even know what he's holding. That's a good point.
I didn't even think of that. That's a good point.
I've never noticed him holding on to that saber like that before.
The fact they were going to eat him is pretty wild.
Right. I do say with this scene coming up when he uses the Force to levitate 3PO was dope. I was like, all right, this is tight. Because then I'm thinking, well, Luke's gotten really powerful too. You know? I think they do that on purpose throughout this film. I think they show Luke doing something every other scene with his power to show like how he's gotten.
Think about this, Milton. You were talking about the power, or Ben, I don't know who was mentioning about how he's getting powerful. He sees the Force grows more clearly. He's getting more powerful to the point where he doesn't even have to use gestures with his hands or to even have his eyes open to sense a presence in the Force and use the Force to lift it up. And the fact that C-3PO isn't even like an animate, I guess it doesn't matter if he's an inanimate or animate object, but he just is sitting there focusing through the Force.
Yeah, and moving it accurately.
Accurately, yeah. And there's no like hesitation, not like he's struggling like he did in Empire, moving the ship and his hand was, you know, shaky. Like he just takes a breath, moves him, puts him down. I'm thinking, oh, like Luke's that nice?
Oh, yeah.
I ain't gonna lie, I've tried this plenty of times when I'm just chilling at the house. Let me just try to, you know, move something.
Yeah. Also, I think an underrated part about this scene too, to add to the viciousness of the Ewoks, you know, they're just singing casually when they're getting ready to cook these people alive. Like, you know, they're singing their little song and getting the fire around. It's like, okay.
Oh, yes, we're eating good tonight. We got humans.
Yeah.
And then, you know, as John Campea says, you know, you have these Ewoks that go eat people alive, burn you alive, eat you, and then use your skulls as bongo drums to celebrate. Like, that's pretty wild.
Yeah, vicious.
I really have a strong urge, guys, to watch the Caravan of Courage and a battle for Endor now after seeing this segment.
I saw someone live tweeting that on Twitter earlier today. Actually, they were watching it. Actually, they were like, I'm watching Ewoks Caravan of Courage and blah 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 blah, and they were live tweeting it in like a thread.
I think I actually might watch it like this next week.
This scene for me is another good scene for me. I love how he just narrates Star Wars pretty much. He just narrates the whole trilogy like at this time.
That's
he has the sound effects too.
Yeah.
So dope.
Yeah, how he has the sound effects.
Yeah. Oh, Vader. I was like, fire, dude.
Yeah, I mean, given I guess he's a droid, so he can record or just play it on demand, I guess. But it's funny how he uses the sound effects like Vader, the lightsaber, like all that stuff.
Well, for all we know, 3 or R2 could be making those sounds for all we know.
True.
Yeah.
I mean,
now, what's special about this scene? I'm sorry to interrupt, Ben. What's special about this scene? I want to get into this real quick. Is that Luke knows what's going on in a sense. Like, I think, because watch how Luke's face is looking whenever the council is talking about should we have them join, you know, the tribe. I think Luke is taking away his time from Yoda and how he tried to underestimate a small creature, his stature, his size, and things. Well, he has nothing to give. He's small. I think Luke now finally understands. He's like, this is the process. This needs to happen. We need to let them have them accept us into this tribe to get to our next step, you know? So I think Luke gets it. I think obviously Han and Leia and Chewie are probably like, what the hell is this? No, he even says, what's going on? But Luke's like, no, like, this is good. This needs to happen. Do you see it?
Oh yeah, that's true. I didn't even...
And I think he's taken away his time from Yoda. He's like, I'm not going to underestimate these people, you know?
Yeah. I mean, think when he first started interacting with Yoda, he didn't know what he was talking to.
Yeah. Luke's like, okay, we're accepted, we're good. He's like, all right, now it's time for me to like step out and go.
Yeah. I mean, and also realistically, like Luke probably is thinking like, tactically, like sure, Luke could have like wrecked some people with his lightsaber, but you know, they probably got a few arrows in Han and Leia, you know, Han as well, and Chewie, like they probably would have done some damage to him.
That's one line from Harrison Ford I'd never picked up on. Short help's better than no help at all.
Yeah. Exactly.
Oh man, he's on fire at this movie.
Oh, he's a prick. Typical.
Oh, yeah, he's so good.
I think he hates 3PO. Like, facts.
Oh yeah.
Now this scene, after watching the prequels, I wish this scene was rewritten differently, because there's no way she really wouldn't know her mom.
There's one way.
How?
I mean, if you want to get like real into the mega weeds with it, Luke's eyes are closed, Leia's eyes are open during that scene. If you watch it, her eyes are open, so it's like the Force. She's seeing through the Force. That's what I've heard the explanation is that she basically saw her mother because her eyes were open and Luke was basically like asleep or whatever. So that's why Leia saw Padme. And that
she
scene
just said she didn't really know her because she just knew images.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, images because her eyes were open. That's what
like
I've heard. Like if you watch the sequence.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. This scene always threw me. I mean, even till this day, I'm like, I wish they would have done that Revenge of the Sith kind of different at time, like pieces of it to make it fit. But it's like, it's whatever. I mean, I can't even like hate because it's still a great like scene between Luke and Leia.
Oh yeah.
You know, and she's like, your father. Like she's like repulsed.
Again, the shooting of it, and I mean the fact of it, you know, it's you know, go on.
No, I was just gonna say, the upcoming book coming out this week is actually they say there's gonna be a lot with her dealing with the fact that she's the daughter of Darth Vader, and I know they did a lot of that with Bloodline. That is the crux of the Bloodline story. You guys read that or listened to it, and it comes back to haunt her when people realize that she is the daughter of Vader. Yeah. Even though it's like 25 years later.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. Leia, I'm surprised she hasn't killed herself yet because, and I mean, I don't mean that to be like weird or goofy. What I'm saying is like she lost her planet of Alderaan.
Everybody she knows.
Yeah, wiped out her family, Alderaan. You know, she finds out that the most heinous man in history is her father. You know, finds out that, you know, Luke's her brother. You know, like all this other stuff. Like she goes through so much. And she's not basket case. You know, she's been on the run for 4 years at this point with the rebellion. Like, how is she not stressed out? Plus, she was an agent as a child and as a young adult working against the Empire. So, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, she's been through so much, it's not even funny.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So
like, Leia's, I mean, Leia hasn't had a normal childhood. Because how old would she be in this movie? 20?
She's about 23. Yeah.
Or so. 23, 24, like that's a lot by the time you're 24. I mean, I know by the time I was 24, I definitely was not doing all of this sort of stuff.
No. Yeah, so it's like, man, she's been through so much. And again, this goes back to my argument, or my reasoning about how with Rey, she goes through nothing and they make her ultra powerful and ultra perfect. It's like, wait a minute, like Luke and Leia are the pillars of the original trilogy, and they went through something. Anakin and Obi-Wan went through stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Han,
like Han, like he got froze for a year for Pete's sake.
Yeah.
Now Han Solo now being an asshole like always. But to his credit, he does revert back to being a nice guy, realizing he's like, hey, I messed up. He's like, let me just comfort her real quick. She needs me.
Well, and he doesn't know what just went down.
Right. He doesn't know the full story yet.
Details of the conversation.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. Like, that was Han Solo reverting to him being an old jerk again. But then now you can really see, like, he softened up. He's like, all right, I love this woman. You know, let me be patient with her.
Oh, yeah. Also, a thing, too, to throw out there with this whole scene, again, the cinematography, because I feel like nowadays, if this scene was shot in today's sequence, that scene would be mega dark.
Oh, yeah.
Versus the way it's lit now, because, you know, that's just how people shoot.
Oh, right. I love this establishing shot of the size of the Death Star, like in the freaking sky. Like, that thing is super close. You got the shuttle coming down, and you got the AT-AT, which is neat because, like, up until now we thought they were only Hoth vehicles, but it's cool to see the Empire has them like all over the galaxy, you know?
Right. Oh yeah, it is dope. Yeah. So Chris, was it you saying something, Chris, about him being so shiny in this movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't do anything. All he does is walk around. I'm dead serious. Like, he hasn't done anything physical yet.
Yeah.
Man, Luke looks so good in that outfit. Now look at the size between Luke and Vader. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Well, Hamill's only like 5'9" or so, 5'10", I think.
But I'm saying, like, just the physical stature in general, like,
oh yeah,
Vader's big
and bulky, and I mean he's a monster basically.
Yeah. I wonder how Vader always thought like this conversation would go between he and his son. So I think the Obi-Wan show has really helped this scene. What do you guys think?
Oh yeah.
I would definitely say it's helped this scene a lot. This scene helps their conversation on the Death Star. Like, it just helps a lot of this context with Vader, I feel like.
Right. Even the sound of his saber is different. I love it. Now I think one of my buddies asked me, he's like, why does Luke's lightsaber look different? Why does it look like Obi-Wan's lightsaber? And I'm like, guys, like, the film tells you in its own way. And my buddy's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
I'm like, Obi-Wan's lightsaber. I was like, Obi-Wan was his mentor, 1. 2, they're on Tatooine. You know, 3, like, he probably went back to Obi-Wan's
context
house.
Clues.
Exactly. He probably went back to Obi-Wan's house, found the books and about how to construct a lightsaber, and he did it. Now, I've also heard, like, this is rumor and innuendo, maybe legends too, I think. The green crystal, before the whole bleeding of it, potentially could have been Qui-Gon Jinn's, maybe.
Yeah, I don't think that's legends. I think that's canon, or not canon, but people want it to be canon.
Yeah.
It was in the it's in the Kenobi book, I believe, just straight up called Kenobi. You know, he talks about I'm pretty sure it was in that book from like 2009 or 10, somewhere in that region. That book, it was from that, because Obi-Wan, like, you know, talks about like storing Qui-Gon's crystal there, and then I think, you know, it's like referenced or whatever like that. It's there, so, like, you know, how else would a Luke build his green lightsaber? Like,
well, I've also read too, maybe, and Chris, maybe if you know this, he got like a synthetic crystal because he couldn't find like a regular kyber crystal.
Yeah, I think that's in canon right now, isn't it, Chris? Or
wait, no, there's no such thing as a synthetic crystal now in Star Wars. I found out that fact that Darth Maul had a synthetic crystal for the dark side users. That's how they had red crystals, but they don't exist anymore. But basically, it's all natural kyber crystals, and the only crystals that turn red are the ones that the Sith bleed.
They bleed,
is when they basically just like use the Force to like overpower them. And
right. Yeah, because I know when I was a kid, I read something about like he had to make a crystal or get something. I'm like, what? I thought they were just like, you just found them and like put them in.
Yeah, but so far, it's weird. Luke has currently, where the comic is in between Empire and Return of the Jedi, he has a yellow lightsaber that he found in a High Republic outpost. So curious to see why that one goes away and he gets Luke's the green saber, but we'll see soon, I guess.
Right.
A lot of blockade runners.
Right. But what's crazy is like the rebellion fleet can't even hold up against like the galactic um republic at all, like their fleet. I mean, they're just like
Yep.
maybe a percentage of what they got, you know. But it looks
Oh
it
yeah.
looks they look amazing though. They're trying.
Good old B-wings.
Yeah.
You see him here, but you don't see him ever again.
Lando Calrissian has such perfect hair in this movie.
Oh yeah.
Now I
Yeah,
will
this
say
whole
they go ahead, Ben.
Oh, I was gonna say this whole space battle I think is I think the best overall sequence, best overall space battle for like the stakes, the just everything. Like I would say overall in Star Wars, like in terms of the
Mhm.
space battles, like the consequences, the way it's shot visually, everything I feel like is on point.
Yeah.
But
I
Milton,
No, I was just gonna say, like, I think they should have. I think the only thing about this film that I will say that's another negative, they didn't use Lando enough, in my opinion.
yeah,
Yeah, again, I really want that backstory of Lando and how he got into the Rebel Alliance. Like, that's such a big gap in the story right now. Like, how does he go from just like this Baron administrator of Cloud City to being a general of the Rebel Alliance in a year?
who
Right.
double crossed his who double crossed? I guess what would Han's rank be?
Oh, Han was a
Captain
general, yeah.
or
No,
general?
Han was
Yeah,
general.
yeah. So he double crossed a general of the rebellion in Empire
Right.
Strikes Back, and
Well,
then
he wasn't a general
turns it
yet in
around.
Empire. He's like still commander,
Or
right?
that's what. Okay,
No,
that's
no,
what
he
I'm
was
saying.
a
But yeah,
general.
I thought he wasn't.
Wait,
I
wait.
think they say
Maybe
General
you
Solo.
might have been right. You might be right. He might be like a
I think he's like a captain or
a
commander.
colonel or
But
something like
but
that.
but I mean, okay. Regardless, whatever his rank is, he double crossed a high-ranking official of the Rebel Army, and then a year later, Lando's a general. It's like, wait a second, how did you double cross your? You know what I mean? It's like I
Yeah.
don't know. It's just crazy. Like he had to have done something significant.
Well, the Battle of
Right.
Tanab, like he referenced, like,
Yeah.
"Ooh, what's this Battle of Tanab?" Like,
Maybe he saved Mon Mothma.
Well, maybe Leia vouched for him. She's like, hey, listen, like he's an asshole, but however, he did save us. He tried to save Han. Okay, now is this old boy from Rebels and Clone Wars?
that's
Rex,
the guy's
yeah.
called
Yeah.
like Nick Sance or something, isn't he? Like the
It's
character name or
yeah,
something?
and well, no, in canon he is Rex now. That's
Yes.
that's
Nuh-uh.
definitely Rex now.
Yeah, that's what I
Yeah,
was
I'm-
saying. Like,
No,
I'm
it
pretty sure that's
isn't.
Rex now.
I'm pretty sure Dave Filoni is the one that confirmed that, Chris.
Well, no, wait. It was in Forces of Destiny or like Galaxy of Heroes where they had like Rex with a camouflage gear. But like a lot of
Well-
people are mad because they're like, well, if they do that, then they're like whitewashing like Tamora Morrison because he's a white
Well,
guy.
see, oh, I know that, but I'm saying I'm like 97% sure Dave Filoni can. I feel, don't you?
I
Milton?
thought he did too.
I think Dave confirmed that.
That's what
I'm
I'm asking because I'm thinking like,
sure.
wait, like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, it is what it is, but
Yeah. If not, he is in headcanon for everybody.
Mhm.
Now here's my question to you guys: do you think Vader or not Vader? Do you think Palpatine is worried or scared about Luke or Vader together?
Not at all.
Nope.
Facts. I agree. Like he ain't stressing.
Zero, just because of once we get to the part where everything springs into action, like Palpatine knows how this is all going to play out.
Mm.
I still love the original trailer had the elevator shot for this movie.
Mhm.
The what?
So like the elevator, like when they come up to Palpatine's throne room and like the elevator opens, like when they're there, like that was one of the big establishing shots like for the original trailer for this movie. So like a lot of people, if you go back and look at like different write-ups about this movie and stuff, people were theorizing, wait, Luke's in all black, is he turning to the dark side or something? Like all these sort of theories back then based off that original trailer, like if you look into it, because people were just assuming since a Jedi's not supposed to be in all black, and like that was a lot of the chatter back then.
Oh.
If you look up like talk about the original trailer, yeah, like old magazine write-ups and things. Like I've looked into that stuff before, and that was like part of the initial like trailer reaction back in like 1982, I guess, or early '83.
Yeah.
Ian McDermott, man, I can't believe this guy was only like in his 30s when he did this.
Yeah.
I legitimately thought this was like an older gentleman playing this.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That chair is so cool. You know, we got to talk about the chair. The fact that it just spins around. He's got like all his command controls in there, just chilling. At Celebration, they have this usually as a photo op. You can go sit in Emperor's chair and get some photos.
That's great. I mean, hey, like if you were the emperor, of course you have to have something like that. Like,
Man, he needs to have like a thing for his feet though. Like lift his feet up
Yeah.
off the ground.
one thing's for sure, Milton, with us being big sports people, that the whole big window, that would also be a multi-function big screen just to sit there
Oh,
and
you're
chill
damn
and
right,
watch
dude. You're not wrong.
watch games on.
Facts.
Galactic football.
Yeah, hot ball.
Yeah. Hey, there we go.
Oh, this level was fun in Return of the Jedi for Super Nintendo.
Oh yeah,
You can
this
play-
was a
Facts. And you can play this level on the Force Unleashed 2,
What?
I think.
Yeah, I
and
think
like
it's
as like
two.
it's one of the bonus like feature episode or levels when you beat the game. Cuz like you
Oh.
play it as I think you play it as Dark Star Killer. And you want to fight in Leia as a Jedi.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah, it's
wow.
Yeah, so like long story short, like you go through Endor with the Dark Star Killer, and you wind up fighting Han Solo and Chewie. You wind up killing him. Spoilers. You kill them, and then you fight like a not a Rancor, the 2-footer, robot. What's it called? Not the
ATSC?
ATSC. Yeah, you fight that, and then you go through this level. You fight all the rebellion, you wreck them, and all of a sudden you see Leia trying to do something, and she's like, "Oh, you destroyed my brother on Hoth, so I took his place and became a Jedi." And she has a yellow saber.
What?
Oh yeah, it's fire.
Yep.
Look it up on YouTube. And then so
Oh,
like
yeah.
you want to fight her on this, and then like you chase her throughout Endor, and you go to like this big like satellite dish looking thing or like level, and you want to fight her there, and you want to beating her, and at the end you're thinking, oh, it's all good, and they shoot up to the Death Star where the Emperor and Vader are at, and Emperor Palpatine's like, oh, so Vader, you think I didn't know about your Dark Apprentice? He's like, I'm gonna wreck you, and he lets you
Here we
do
go.
him, and he sends yeah, it's fire, dude.
It's a
Like
trap.
just watch it. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
But
no,
nah,
the Force
Oh
Unleashed
my
2 stuff is amazing.
gosh.
Yeah. This still holds up till this day,
This
Chris.
holds up.
Oh yeah.
Dude, 40 years later, and this looks just incredible.
I honestly, as much as I love the Revenge of the Sith battle in the beginning of the movie, this is probably my favorite Star Wars like space battle of all time.
Oh yeah, I think it's the best just for all
Yeah.
the visuals, the action, the consequences of the fight. Because this is the rebellion. Like if they don't win this, like it's done.
It's over for him.
Hmm.
Yeah. I mean, Palpatine has no worries. Like that's why I'm thinking he's not worried about these people.
I mean, also realistically too, even if Vader didn't stop, well, we'll see here in a second. Stop it. I feel like Palpatine could have stopped Luke's lightsaber with the Force,
Oh yeah.
just for how
he was-
powerful he was.
Yeah.
Like he had no worries whatsoever.
I mean, he's pretty much he's tempting him. He's training him. I mean, he's doing everything he did to Anakin. You know, pretty much.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
I think
Yep.
yeah, it's unavoidable. I mean,
He's even in the same kind of chair that he was in Revenge of the Sith aboard the General Grievous' flagship there.
right.
Same
Yeah.
thing.
Now, I wish, you know what, Chris, we need a book, a certain point of view book from Vader's perspective on this whole scene, because I wonder what he's thinking. He's thinking like, well, this happened to me too, you know. Like We need something like that. Like that'd be cool to see what he's thinking during that whole interaction of being on that ship while his son is also being like, put to the ringer.
Oh yeah, I think it's he's still struggling with it because he's thinking about that, and then he's still just the muscle memory takes over to protect Palpatine though.
Yeah.
In that moment.
Right. I mean, yeah. I mean, and pretty much you're talking about echoing. He's Dooku now, because Dooku thought like, oh, I'm good. I'm Palpatine's guy, and Vader's probably thinking the same thing in a way. He's like, oh, I'm good, but it's my son, but I'm still good, and he's still like serving him. Maybe he knows like Palpatine wants to discard him. It's crazy. It's kind of like weird.
Well, that, and it would be cool to get a story from that point of view, just because of the whole from say Vader's perspective, is he thinking, okay, maybe we get up here and some stuff goes down, maybe me and Luke can take him out, like if I because remember Vader said we can overthrow the Emperor in Episode 5, like he flat out said that. So I feel like Vader could potentially have that in the back of his mind too, like when we're going up there, like sure he's telling all this stuff to Luke, but who knows, maybe I'll get my chance to take the shot on Palpatine.
Right.
Leia kicking absolute ass in this movie, from taking out speeder bikes, killing Jabba, just sniping fools and ATSTs.
What do you think about this scene? Like, I don't think I ever talked to you guys about this, but how do you feel about Ewoks going up against an Imperial, like, brigade? Like, do you think they should have won? I mean, I don't know.
Well, I mean, the real world stuff is, it's the whole like Vietnam, like repelling, like us invading and all that sort of stuff. Like, that's what it's like inspired off of. But like in terms of like the in-universe stuff, I think it's fine. I mean, I think it's fine. Good because it's fine because it kind of sets up the whole like underdog part of like the rebels are this scrappy group of people put together, and the Ewoks are this scrappy, I guess, pack of herd animals, or I guess whatever they're called, creatures, and taking out like a bigger, more powerful threat. It just mirrors the rebellion really well, I would say.
I would say if you look in each frame, per every stormtrooper, there's about 10 Ewoks. So for me, it's just like power by overwhelming force. And that's how I logistically look at it, where it's that they just have the numbers on the stormtroopers. There's not a whole lot. I mean, this is not meant to be a place where there's going to be a huge rebel war. Like, they didn't have that many Imperial forces here.
Well, you got to think about it as well from a point of view of, okay, this was rated PG. This was made back then when it wasn't as violent. Nowadays, you'd have Ewoks like stabbing stormtroopers in the neck. Like, it would be a lot more violent if it was like in real life. Like, you know what I mean? Like graphics wise.
I mean, you see enough here where they're preparing. I love this cut right here, where it just goes from the trees to the space
right
battle.
to there,
Yeah, that's excellent editing.
Just the kinetic. It's so kinetic. You go from one battle, one front of the battle to the other without it missing a beat.
This is the best, I think, overall final act of a movie of what's going on throughout the entire sequence of the final part of the movie, from the space battle to Endor to inside the Death Star, like everything that's happening. I think
Phantom Menace gives it a run for its money. Phantom Menace is the only other movie that actually has the stakes dialed up pretty high, and everything is happening for a purpose. So I do really appreciate Phantom Menace.
I think these are the two highest ones, like the two. I think they're the two clear-cut ones.
Well, we all forget too, though. Rogue One had a pretty damn good space battle too.
Oh well, yeah, that one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and because I just even thought about that, because she's trying to get the plans. They got the beach scene, getting the plans, and Admiral Raddus using that Hammerhead Corvette to wreck the space shield or the planet shield. Yeah. That holds up too with this. I mean, I have to say, that's a really good scene too.
Oh, for sure. I think those three movies are the best
Without
three
question.
overall like endings combined.
Mm. I love the scene where he's like, "Man, that came from the Death Star."
Oh, Billy D's acting is so great in this.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing.
I love and Ian Numb throughout the whole thing too. Like his co-pilot is so great.
Mm. Well, he's pretty much us. He's like, "What the hell is going on here?" He's like,
Yeah,
He's like,
like
"All
what
right."
I sign up for.
Exactly. Because we'd be like, "Oh God," I'm like, "I hope I just survive."
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Ewok just mercilessly stabbing the stormtrooper.
So
Oh man, here comes R2 to save the day. Or is
again,
he?
the stormtroopers aren't trained for this type of combat. Probably, they're more trained for like humanoid type,
Yeah.
humans, humanoid types. Like they're not trained for like people that are 2.5 foot high or whatever, however tall Ewoks are. Like they're not trained for this type of, in the jungles combat, I guess you would say.
It's interesting because after like this movie has been out with all the canon stuff, we have so many stories of characters being in the Battle of Endor on Endor itself. Like for instance, you have the bounty hunter from Aftermath. Now you guys have read that.
Hera.
There's like a bounty hunter from there. You have in Star Wars Battlefront 2's campaign, you have Iden Versio and an Inferno squad like wandering through the jungle, taking out different rebel soldiers and stuff.
Well, wasn't Hera in it, or is that just the Forces of Destiny? I don't know if that counts.
Well, she gets there after the battle's over, I think. Like she lands.
Is it? Okay. Okay. So she shows up later. Okay, I wasn't sure if that took place during this or, after. But like you said, it is cool finding out like more and more the people that are getting added. And that's the perfect way to I think mess with canon. I think, like adding in like just little nods here and there.
I like that angle. Yeah, seeing the dish explodes, seeing the anatomy of a Star Destroyer and the hard points and things you gotta hit to take it out. In Star Wars Squadrons, you gotta go for the shield generators first.
Right.
That's
He's so confident. He's already calling him his apprentice at this point.
yeah.
Yeah, it's tough for Luke. It's like the character of like, how do you come up with a better villain than Palpatine himself? Like as an antagonist, you don't.
Well,
like this is the top.
So Luke's whole point in this surrendering himself was to try to turn Vader, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So like that's a wild thing to think about, like, how brave and bold you have to be. You're turning yourself over, like they could just kill you, like theoretically. Like
That's what I'm saying. Like, yeah.
See, but then again, I feel like, then from Vader's point of view, maybe in the Force, like Vader's sensing that, like, coming through the Force of like, whoa, Luke's basically giving himself up to like all of this potential bad stuff to like try to turn me.
Right. Yeah, this is ridiculous.
Good old ATST pilots. Oh man, that poor guy. He's gonna be dinner for the Ewoks in about 3 hours.
Yeah, because you gotta think, if you're like those stormtroopers and the pilots and the ATSTs, you're like, man, I did not sign up for this.
Yeah.
This type of war. Like, this is not what I signed up for. Getting eaten alive, and yeah, I did not sign up for that, because I guarantee you the Ewoks didn't put them out of their misery too quickly.
No,
Like,
they were yeah.
Yeah, some of them might have just been knocked out, and then they're waking up to their flesh being cooked
arms getting
alive.
ripped off, and yeah.
That's
It's
funny.
just crazy.
Like in Battlefront 2, there's an entire game mode called Ewok Hunt where you are Ewoks
Yep,
and
I
you're
remember
hunting the
that.
stormtroopers. It's like a horror movie.
Yep.
You got you have like flashlights that have like a limited time, so like once the lights go out, you're like screwed because you hear the Ewoks and it's like, oh my gosh.
All right.
You hear them and then it's too late, you're dead.
I always feel bad when the one Ewok gets blasted.
Yeah, they add that's cool. They add stakes to the movie. It's like, all right, like these
Yeah.
guys aren't infallible. Great music by John Williams though, with like thematically, like it sounds like it's a lot of horns, like as if it's like the Ewoks like calling in reinforcements.
All right.
Oh, the stop animation on this ATST going down is awesome.
Oh
His
yeah.
with the way his legs were
still holds
wobbling.
up.
Way to screw it up, Han Solo.
Yep.
Look at Han Solo just grabbed her boob.
Hey, gotta get your action when you can. I always wondered in Star Wars, so when you get shot, does that like just burn you or something, or does it go through?
It instantly cauterizes you. Like when it hits you, it's just
Okay.
like
Because there's blood on his fingers. Like you see that?
Okay.
oh
yeah,
yeah.
that's
Wow, I never noticed that.
Interesting. Yeah, that's a
Wow.
good call there.
Mm. Get down here. She's wounded. I love this cut right here.
Oh yeah, that's definitely one of the best cuts.
What
This is one of my favorite. It's one of my favorite lightsaber battles.
because it's got so much riding on it. Like that's what makes battles so important. It's like what are the stakes? What's really happening besides just people wailing at each other?
Right.
Well, it has the stakes of the Rebel stuff, the Emperor trying to turn Luke stuff, the Luke trying to turn Vader stuff, and what's Vader thinking from his point of view. So you have like 4 or 5 different things right there that's going on.
One thing about this scene, I never understood why Luke never corrected Vader and said, "No, Obi-Wan didn't teach me. I learned from Yoda." Like that'd be kind of funny.
But I guess from Vader's point of view, maybe he thought Obi-Wan was the only one alive.
Yeah, I love this. Luke's just being defensive and just like not even trying to like fight him.
Yep.
I do love that we get the Vader lightsaber throw.
Oh yeah.
I mean, the editing for this sequence with Luke and Vader, the music for sure. The music's excellent throughout this whole scene.
Yeah, when I first saw this, I couldn't figure out how he cut down that that bridge.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh, okay, because he threw a saber, and I was like, oh, that makes sense.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, that music swelling up with the Emperor smiling and laughing. Oh man.
So good.
Right. So when we get to the scene where Luke's in the darkness with Vader, look at Darth Vader closely. You see that he has Luke's saber in his left hand. Have you ever noticed that?
Interesting.
No.
I did not
So
notice
I
that.
think how I read it and looked it up before, somehow Luke went to attack him again, but somehow Vader like took the saber out of his hand. And that's how he wound up having it in his hand again, like in that scene. You'll see it if you just look closely.
Well, see, you have things like that. They've had saber mistakes like that because they had a similar one with Ian McDermott in this scene in Revenge of the Sith when him and the Council first start fighting. There's some weird stuff with his lightsaber that goes on in that sequence as well.
Yeah.
I feel like it's just how many shots you do. You don't even think about, maybe one little quick shot.
Right. can't hide forever, Luke.
Yep.
I do like the lighting in this scene, how they show his
Yeah,
face.
and I like how Vader's saber looks. It's like very
Mhm.
pointy.
Yep.
Looks
Oh,
just
yeah.
like he's just like an evil. Well, he is evil, but just like this black knight of vengeance.
Oh yeah. And God, if you're Luke, you gotta be thinking, man, I really got myself into some hot water today.
Right.
How did we get here?
I mean, Vader's not wrong though. Like he. See, his saber's right there.
Oh wow.
Yeah, he has it
Oh.
in his hand, and Luke uses the
What in
force
the
and grips
world?
it out. So Luke uses the force and takes it out of his hand. Like so, they cut it.
Oh
So,
wow.
yeah, so they cut
Wait,
it.
what
So
like,
the
Luke
hell?
dropped
Yeah.
it when the. So
Yes,
Luke
Luke-
dropped. Oh, that's how it got to Luke.
Yeah,
Oh
Luke dropped it.
wow.
So he was supposed to use
Holy
the force and pull
smokes.
it out. Love this scene, dude. The music
Wow,
for
that
this
is-
was fire.
That's a good call. Hey, there you go, Chris. There's a YouTube video for you. Hidden fact about Return of the Jedi no one knows.
Yeah.
Yeah, really.
All right.
Wow,
That's
that blew
interesting.
my
I did
mind.
not notice that, Milton. Yeah,
Alright,
I did
so
not
yeah.
notice that.
Love this. Tap in the dark side. Yeah, so in that scene, he
Whoa.
drops his saber, Vader picks it up, and then Luke uses the force and rips it out of his hand when he gets angry.
That's why Luke's at such a weird angle when it ignites.
Yes. Yes.
Interesting. I never noticed that. I'm definitely gonna have to text my cousin about that after this,
Right.
because this is his favorite movie, and I don't think he's ever seen that.
This is a great scene, just seeing the comparison between father and son. You're realizing, oh, I'm becoming my dad.
Yep.
I'm becoming what I'm trying to destroy. Now, I don't know if I would have threw my lightsaber because I'm like, bro,
Yeah.
what are you doing?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, because I think part of it too, like, I mean, obviously Luke's talking about being a Jedi and all that stuff, but part of it too, I mean, there's still got to be a little touch of overconfidence in Luke.
Exactly.
Well, he's probably thinking, what's this old man gonna do?
That's what I'm
Like-
saying. Obi-Wan ain't throwing his lightsaber
Mhm.
down. He's like, oh, I know this guy can do something.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Luke should
Vader's-
know this. He should know this from
Yeah.
Yoda.
Oh yeah, Vader's whispering, he can shoot lightning, man.
Facts.
Well, didn't he get warned by Yoda or Obi-Wan saying the Emperor's powerful?
Yeah,
Don't
yeah,
underestimate
Yeah,
him?
Yoda says don't underestimate Harry says something about don't underestimate the power of the Emperor.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. See, I'd be like, oh
Yeah.
my God, miss me with this, Luke. What you doing, man? Get your saber up.
Yeah.
And Vader
Again,
gets
too,
up
though,
and goes
like-
to serve him.
Yeah, that's really wild. Also, I think just practically back then, like if Luke pulls his saber, I don't know if they would have wanted to have the Emperor do a lightsaber fight.
Right. No, I think they potentially could have done like him deflecting the lightning, but this works. I mean this makes sense
Oh, yeah.
too, because you need Vader to like tap into like Anakin again now officially.
Well, yeah, you have to somehow get Vader to kill the Emperor.
Yeah, it's
To get
gotta
over
be
the spoiler.
it's gotta be something extreme where he can't hesitate, like he has to make a choice.
Right.
There's
It's either your
consequences
son's
here.
dead or, yeah.
So, question for you fellas: what are your thoughts on this? No, how do you feel about that?
Nope. I'll pass on that.
Yeah. Too much.
I don't mind it. I think because of what I know about the story, I don't mind it. But I'm not against him being quiet neither, like not saying anything. It's like I like the lead up when he says no.
Do we
But
think though, was the Emperor basically too sucked in right now dealing with Luke to turn around? Because I mean, if Vader screams no, you'd think the Emperor would snap. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, I don't know. Maybe he was just so consumed by the dark side, focusing on killing Luke because he is trying to kill Luke here. Like
I've
at
never.
this point.
Yeah, I don't really recognize him saying no like that. Really,
Yeah.
that wasn't
Like
an
the-
original movie, right?
No, it wasn't.
No.
Like so both of them weren't. Now they added both of those no's.
Huh.
But the first no I was fine with when he's like no. And then the second one I'd be like, you don't need the second one. You could have just like picked him up and threw him. Now
See,
There goes him to
oh,
Exegol.
I was gonna say real quick. Was the no amplified though? Is it maybe audibly in that scene? It wasn't as loud as what we think. It's like that because they're in such a big room, and we're hearing that as an audience. It's loud, but maybe you know what I mean. Maybe it's more.
right.
Maybe it's not as loud as what we think.
Yeah. Good point.
That's the only justification, I guess I could say.
Right. Dude, this is such great CGI.
The speed.
Dude, it's dude, and this is the same scene. Like this has not changed
Yeah.
in how many years? It still holds up.
Oh yeah. Well,
but Ben,
John
before-
Campea always says this is the best overall space battle just in any movie, which I'd say probably is.
This is probably the best. I mean, I don't want to say it's the best ending, but like, it's a hell of an ending for this movie for
Yeah.
sure.
But what
Oh,
are you
yeah.
saying, Milton?
Well, I'll say Chris or Ben to leave back and point about Exegol. So in the novelization, right, is this where he like transfers essence to
Yeah.
the body?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how I still feel about that, but whatever.
The
We'll,
Emperor is still alive.
we'll accept it. You know what I'm saying?
Somehow
Like,
the
it is what it
Emperor
is.
survived.
Yeah.
My
No,
neck.
because cloning's not unusual to us. I mean, it's not unusual. I mean, look at the Dark Empire comic books. He talks about that.
It just comes down to execution, I think.
Exactly.
I think like not to get in a whole sequel rewriting discussion, but long story short, I think if you go with the Emperor cloning stuff as a build up from episode 7, it works.
Yes.
I think as a stakes, like build up, like the rebels freaking out. Oh my gosh, the Emperor's coming back. Oh my gosh, the Emperor's coming back in episode 8, and then boom, the Emperor's back. Versus the way they did
I don't know.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My boy. Yeah, it's like, ugh. This is dope scene. I love this.
Oh yeah.
Relief.
One thing, even though it's been memed like 10 million times, but realistically, when all these Star Destroyers and Death Star blow up, man, like Endor would be destroyed.
Oh,
From
yeah.
debris, I think.
Well, in Battlefront 2, you're escaping from Endor. It's Iden Versio,
Yeah, because it's just
and it's like a
an
junk field.
apocalypse.
There's like a
Yeah.
junk field around the planet. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we see Rise of Skywalker, like one of the moves, Kef Bir just littered with wreckage
Yeah.
on the surface too.
So this is Moon of Endor. Have we been on Endor before in canon, Chris?
No.
Okay.
I don't know if Endor
I wondered that.
even is like a habitable planet. Maybe it's like a gas giant or something.
I always wondered that. So here's a fun question for you guys. If we're talking about playing around with certain scenes and stuff, should they have, since they edited Hayden's face, should they have somehow edited Hayden's face onto like the unmasking here?
No.
No.
Okay.
Nope. I'm totally
Just
fine
checking.
with this face.
Okay,
just
good. I
because-
was gonna say, well, I mean, we got rid of the other Force Ghost Anakin, so just checking.
Yeah. No, I'm totally fine with this. Like, I think
Okay,
it
good.
makes sense because at this point he's like 45.
Yeah.
His character's like
45,
45,
50.
almost 50. So like, I'm cool with it.
Okay.
Did he always have those scars, like as he went into the suit for the first time?
He had the scars that they just got cleaned up from like the Bacta. Because I think
Bacta.
you see him in Obi-Wan. You do see those scars in Obi-Wan.
Oh,
Yep.
okay. I just wasn't sure, like, oh, is there an untold story where he had his mask off and he got sliced in the head somehow? Like,
Right.
Oh yeah, no, you see him in Obi-Wan.
Now, don't they do CGI his eyebrows off, right?
Yes, I
thought that
believe
they
so.
did. Yeah.
Yep. God, I remember as a kid, I was like, man, this made me sad as a kid. I was like, man, this is tough because it's like you want Vader to survive.
Right. But here's the thing, though, and this is the great what if. What if story. If Vader survives, what happens then? Like, does he have to pay a penance for all the crime he's committed over the galaxy?
Yep.
And do he have to? Like, there's no way that the rebellion be like, oh, Luke, it's all good. We know it's your pops. They'd be like, no, this guy out here committed genocide.
Yeah. Well, that was like that YouTuber. I found that little YouTuber who did the what if Vader survived the events of this movie, and it was
yeah.
So it was so good. If anybody's looking it up, go look it up. Like just type in "What if Vader survived Return of the Jedi?" and like that guy, it was a good story.
Did he do one more episodes? Now that I think about it, I think I watched the first one.
Yeah, I haven't checked into it recently, but I will now that we were on this movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, that one was fire.
Dude, I love this. Yeah. Oh, I'd be a cowboy just
great.
because of this.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
See, Chris, I need to get a Millennium Falcon. Like, if Star Wars is real, if someone said Milton, Star Wars is real, and you're a billionaire, like I'm building a Millennium Falcon. Facts. Like it.
Oh yeah.
Dude, they're good.
Well, the thing is, so what's the official use of the Millennium Falcon ships, the freighters? Like, are they just freighters? So would it be just like us buying a semi, basically? So like they probably wouldn't be that expensive.
Yeah, they have all different kind of Corellian designs. I would go with the YT-2400 Outrider.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say we know that.
Oh god, yeah, facts. Now in the radio drama here, they go through this spiel about the whole Luke thing, but in like some dialogue's different, and then she kind of referenced that she's like pregnant, like in a weird way.
Yep.
Oh.
And he's like, huh? Like she's like, oh, we can talk about it later or whatever.
Oh yeah, she definitely references it in the radio drama like directly, but I mean
pretty much. Yeah, I'm just like, oh, okay, that's a little over the top.
Han's like, dang, that's not what I was planning.
Yeah.
They didn't have much time to get it in either. I guess from the Rebel fleet.
Hey, gotta be quick.
Y'all stupid.
I mean, that's just like Kanan and Hera. I mean, they go up the elevator, Kanan goes outside and gets blown away. Like,
oh. And here's the celebration. Yeah, this is cool, like a Viking funeral.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, and so to get to our point we were discussing at the beginning of the podcast, Milton.
Mm-hmm.
So the whole story with Obi-Wan. So the way it plays out in the original write-up from Lucas. So Luke goes through this whole thing with the funeral with Vader, which is incredible. The way it's shot, just amazing. Like I joked before, I was like, man, I could just see that being like my funeral, just a big Viking funeral out in the wilderness. But so the original way it was shot, or the way it was written, was Luke does this, and then when he turns around, he basically, he gets like a sense in the Force, and he sees like Yoda, he sees his father's ghost, and then Yoda basically tells him like, you have like a friend coming back from like the Force afterlife, and Obi-Wan like walks out of the shadows, and Obi-Wan basically says like, he's one with the Force, and Luke's connected with the Force, and now, Obi-Wan, it's basically that full reference circle of like Obi-Wan becoming more powerful than Vader, where Obi-Wan is 100% back in the flesh. Like it literally says like Obi-Wan, like it talks about Ben Kenobi being like flesh and blood, and Luke just being surprised that he stepped out of the afterlife back into the real world, and like Obi-Wan basically goes and like observes Vader's funeral with Luke in that ending sequence.
Right. Yeah, I don't know how I feel if that would actually be the real thing. I'm like, that's kind of a lazy cheat. That makes sense.
I mean, it's kind of like really happy ending at really like pushing it.
Right. How do you guys feel about this ending? Like, I know original song was the Yub Nub, which I like the song, but I like that they added the additional scenes of Coruscant,
I
Naboo.
could have I could have done
Um,
Yub Nub fading into all of this
yes, Yub Nub and then go
is
into the
how
new
I
inter.
would have done that.
Right. I like seeing all this the planets of like them being free.
Yeah, it's a great world building thing. Like, okay, the
Yeah.
Empire, like here's our microcosm of what's happening across the galaxy with what's happening on Endor. But let's take a look at what's happening on Naboo, Tatooine, and
Yeah.
Coruscant.
Right.
Yeah.
Because the story has been pretty small scale. Like you're just only focusing on a select like group of individuals,
Mm.
but really they have a wide. What they're doing is wider range.
Mm.
Oh yeah.
Such a good ending.
Now, what are our thoughts on Anakin's ghost getting changed?
I'm cool with it.
I'm cool
Okay.
with it.
Because,
I was gonna say
because-
I'm going.
No, because it makes sense to. Because think about it, like those Yoda and Ben always were good. They died as old men. The last time Anakin was good was he's a young guy. You know,
Yeah.
he wouldn't. Why would he come back as an old guy when he's not? When he wasn't good
See,
necessarily. That makes
I've always
sense.
gone
like,
back and forth on it. Yeah, I've always gone back and forth on it because it's like, Anakin was truly good before, but then it's
Yeah.
like Anakin was, he was good at the end, but it's just the whole thing of like, can you be evil and then at the very last second, okay, I'm good, right before you die.
Yeah.
So it's
exactly.
like, I don't know, it's a tough. I lean like as of late, especially with the Kenobi show, I lean more toward. I would say like 60% more leaning toward the younger Anakin,
Mhm.
but yeah, I don't know. It's just kind of a
Well,
coin
my
flip
thing
for
is
me
though
on
too
that.
though because like we've seen more younger Anakin in the whole Star
Yep.
Wars saga with the Clone Wars, with clones, with Revenge of the Sith.
Well, you got to think when
Object
Lucas
Show.
edited this too.
Yeah, so it's like seeing that particular actor slash character play him is like it would make sense to bring him back to make him the one like
Yep.
okay, this is what he was before he went down that path of the dark side.
Hold on a
So-
second.
For sure.
Marsha Lucas or whoever, she edited this. I thought she was
Yes.
not doing Star Wars after. The
No,
first
she
one.
she edited. So they divorced. They divorced. I think after Empire. No, after
It
Revenge.
was
of the-
after a New Hope, I think, wasn't it?
Was it New Hope? No. He
Yeah.
helped. She helped with the movie still, because I think after Return of the Jedi, he was struggling financially. I think with some stuff too. I think he goes into some of that in the documentary as well.
Hmm.
Oh.
So,
Well, with all that being said, what are we rating this movie? I mean,
a 9 out of 10.
Empire was 10 across the board for us.
got you. What was it you said, Ben?
Last time we all each gave Empire a 10.
Oh yeah, this is a 9.
Yeah, this is 9 out of 10 for me. Mainly just little stuff, but I mean it's just nitpicky stuff, and I wish some of the story stuff could have been told, or I guess a little differently. But it's not trash. We all know Return of the Jedi is dope.
Yeah.
Like, let's just be real here. No, this is definitely my second favorite one of the original trilogy. 9 out of 10 without question. I love the Emperor. I love the music. I love Vader and Luke. Getting that resolved. Again, this movie still holds up till this day.
Oh yeah, I can agree with you guys as well. For me, it's a 9 out of 10 because of those reasons. It holds up, has an amazing story. I love Luke's progression through the movie, Vader's progression, getting to see the Emperor for technically the first time like in person was great. And then just seeing where everybody ends up, like, and to me, just throw out, not to like say throw out the sequel trilogy, but this is like one of the best overall endings for a movie, like perfect happy ending for a saga, in my opinion, in general, because there's a lot of other saga movies or franchises, they don't end well. Like, the original Jurassic Park trilogy, it was kind of a wonky ending in the third one. You have different franchises that they can't stick the landing, and this one stuck the landing for me. So like, to me, it's a 9 out of 10. And as you said, Milton, the only reason it's a 9 is because like the good thing is the flaws in this movie, they're not glaring flaws. They're just little nitpicks that add up versus being actual mega issues. So, that's why I would say it's easily a 9 out of 10.
Yeah, for me, there's a lot of things that, it pioneers special effects as it always does with the Rancor scene, with the speeder bike chase, with the incredible space sequence. You have character dynamics that are changing throughout what's happening with Luke, Leia, and Han in that situation. Seeing Luke come so far, the character development over the duration of the three films. We said in the beginning, him going from A New Hope to Empire to Return of the Jedi. You see him grow as a person and into his role as a Jedi. I do feel like there are some certain sequences, like Milton and I mentioned about Darth Vader, is the biggie one for me. It's like I really noticed at this viewing. It's like, okay, you're right. He didn't really do a whole lot. It's like kind of like him just going back and forth on the ship, where it's like, okay, let's see a little bit more from Vader. But other than that, I love how we start the movie. And I didn't realize it was only like 30 minutes with the Jabba stuff. Basically, it's like 30, 35 minutes. Right. And then we're constantly going to different locations. Again, keeping the story fresh where we're engaged. We're not feeling like we're somewhere for too long. Yeah, it gets to that point sometimes in Ewok Village for me. But other than that, yeah, I agree with Milton. I agree with Ben. Like, this is a great finale that ties everything up really nicely until like 30 years later. Then they're like, hey, let's make more.
Yep.
Don't get me started on those movies.
That's
no, you will, because I'm gonna tell you right now. Like, I know we've done the prequels, we've done Rogue One and Solo. Like, I think we've been very positive throughout the films, and we've criticized them appropriately. I thought I have to say we've been very objective.
Well, these are fair to me. We've been positive leaning toward a lot of all the movies we've talked about so far. But our criticisms have been fair, and also though they are our positiveness, or I guess our bias, toward those other movies, all of these movies. It's not like we're biased, just positively inflating these movies. Like
right.
These are what they are. Like they're great.
Exactly. Now, I will say, to anyone when they come to those, I think, oh, Milton's going to rip the sequels apart. I'm going to be objective like I have been throughout any time I watch those movies, because I will say I don't mind The Force Awakens. I can sit through that movie and watch it, and I think usually when I watch that film, thinking, okay, it's really not a bad movie. I think I've learned to appreciate it. It's when we get into The Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker where I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to be as clear and objective as I can, and I'm going to be critical because they set up the first movie for us to believe certain things were going to happen.
Well,
even in the novelizations, and correct me if I'm wrong, Chris, are the novelizations canon?
For the sequel trilogy?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, with that being said,
I know what Milton's going to say.
There are things in those books that occurs, okay, and that are said, and it makes no sense for how they don't have it in the movie or how it doesn't line up within the movie, and it's like, what were they thinking? But it's whatever, like, I'm not saying everything in a book needs to be in the film. We all know that, but there are certain elements where I'm thinking, wait a minute, this should have been in the movie. This should have made it, would have fleshed out the movie so much better, especially in The Rise of Skywalker, about the Palpatine stuff, even some of the Luke stuff in Last Jedi. Even some of the stuff in The Force Awakens should have been put in the movie from the book, because I actually like the book better, I think, honestly. So it's, I don't know. It's freak the Last Jedi.
I feel like with I get where you're coming from completely. But it to me, when it falls on like our like critiquing movies and all of these things, it's like, they're coming from a good place, not just like or like dunking on movies for the heck of it. And like, to me, I think when it comes to like critiquing and stuff, it's just, we are not one of those Star Wars podcasts where it's like all cheerleader stuff or all like anti Star Wars stuff, because there's a lot of Star Wars podcasts, obviously not pointing any creators out, but there are other creators, like they're either like, it's like cheerleaders or it's like everything about Star Wars is horrible. So it's like, just to blindly hate or blindly love. And like, to me, you can't do that, because then it dings your credibility as a creator, because it's like, all right, do you just like hate on everything to hate on it? Or do you just love it just to love it, to like blindly follow or blindly disagree with stuff. And like, to me, I feel like we're always fair with our critiques of whether it be the shows or the movies or the books or, our comments or whatever it may be.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, so when it comes to our next commentary, we don't know, sometime next year, because we wanted to finish this up because we got an onslaught of Star Wars content coming out. We've been keeping not keeping the podcast alive, but we've been keeping the commentaries going pretty regularly because we've been in a little bit of a drought from the major Star Wars series. But it's been fun so far. We got 3 movies left to talk about. At some point, probably after, I would imagine, Mandalorian Season 3, there's probably going to be a substantial gap in time between that and Ahsoka, I would imagine. Right. So be on the lookout for that. But in case this is the first one you watched, we have, what is it, another 6, 7 of these on the channel. Even Solo and Rogue One, we have a commentary, and the prequels all. So go back and watch those, listen to those as well, because I think every one has been informative, and you're gonna maybe pick up on some things that you might have not noticed before, such as me pointing out things in every single viewing of these.
Or Milton with the lightsaber, with Luke's lightsaber in the throne room. I mean, that was new to me tonight.
Right. Yeah, I'll tell you right now, though. The Last Jedi, you might have to just do it without me.
That's gonna be entertaining as all heck.
Yeah, we gotta have you on, Milton. It'll be fun.
No, I'm gonna watch that movie. I'm gonna tell you right now.
As Anakin says, this is where the fun begins.
Yeah, I'm gonna struggle to watch it. And here's the thing. I like the first 10 minutes of that movie. Actually, I will say the first 10 minutes isn't bad of The Last Jedi, but I'm a struggle. I tell you right now, because I usually struggle watching that film. Like, I am not blowing smoke. I struggle with that movie. Yeah, ever since I saw it in the theater, it's like, ugh. I don't think I reacted in the theater. I think I just sat there and was like, "What the hell am I watching?"
Well, there's just certain aspects with it. Even to say that, there are positive parts of the movie. I feel like you have your different moments. Like I always say, that movie, say what you want about it, but hearing Luke talk about Darth Sidious is great in my opinion.
Love it.
I think that is great. And then even the cinematography's excellent.
I like the ending.
Yeah. I mean,
the whole force projection thing was kind of upsetting at first, but then as I see it, I'm like, oh, it's not too bad. And I love the music during that scene too.
Yeah, man, Chris, with all this Last Jedi talk, let's just roll it into Last Jedi. Keep on talking for another 2.5 hours.
No. Yeah, I ain't that nice tonight.
Oh man. Well, I think I'm gonna do it for episode number 70. What are you guys gonna be up to in this upcoming week?
Oh wow. Well, this upcoming week for me, I have a 3-day weekend, so I'm just gonna just get some stuff done around my place. Maybe go see some friends and family. We'll see what happens. But honestly, I'm just gonna enjoy this weekend and just relax. I think, hopefully, and probably watch some football because this preseason is officially week 1 or 2.
Week 1 officially.
Week 1 of preseason. So I might check out some games for sure on NFL Network. Just getting amped up for that. And just get some workout in tomorrow. I got a nice little workout planned in the morning, and hopefully I can just get through that and have a good Saturday. There
you go, Ben.
Yeah, for me, I'm pretty much doing the same thing, getting some workouts in, meal prepping, getting ready because it's Madden season. Everyone knows I love Madden on this podcast, so I've done some back channeling things on the Xbox so I can play a day early on Monday morning. So I'm going to be pretty much playing Madden starting Monday morning at 8 a.m. And it's going to be a fun week of Madden. But it's pretty much what I'm doing, getting ready for the week coming up. And like Milton said, just chilling, watching football, working out, talking with you guys, whether it be YouTube, Milton and Chris, or other people on Twitter about Star Wars. And, it's Star Wars every day for most of us. So there's always something to talk about. And for me, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Real Ben Maynard, and you can find Milton at Milton Weber 7 on Twitter, and then Milton 7 Weber on Instagram. And Chris?
Yeah, I'll be painting as always. I've just finished some Gar Saxon Rookcast. I'm on the Mandalorians. Finally, I finished all my Black Sun, my Pikes. Got the Swoop Riders coming out next week, so just as I'm getting caught up, they dropped me with a whole bunch of more things to put together. So I'll be doing that until the new year, basically. But other than that, I'm gonna be, going down the shore, getting some nice time off. I took a day off as well, Milton, so I'll be enjoying that on Monday. But
Nice.
yeah, you can find. I have a bunch of videos I've been putting up. It's been a while. I've put up some unboxings of a new Star Wars toy line called Galaxy Squadrons, Micro Galaxy Squadron, which are a riff off of the old '90s Micro Machines action fleet, which are these little tiny dudes that you put in really cool ships and
That's
and
great.
mix and match. And so I have a couple videos on the channel. Make sure you go ahead and check those out if that interests you. Other than that, you can find us here next week, same time, same place, youtube.com/Starrapter, 9 o'clock Eastern. And you can also listen to us on any podcast platform of your choice. So for Milton, for Ben, for I, Chris, aka Starrapter, thanks to everybody for joining us for our commentary of Return of the Jedi and for episode number 70 of Outer Rim Transmission. Everybody stay well. May the Force be with you and transmission.